Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
I sometimes sometimes like I kind of figured what they're gonna like why
Oh, you know
like
what?
oh
I
okay I
forgot.
think he did the sculpt off because of this.
I might look it up.
It was like
Yeah.
I know he did like sometimes at random, sometimes it's just like something that piques his nostalgia.
Yep. Yep.
I know like Diablo when we did Diablo for the first time. Uh,
Yeah.
that wasn't Harry Metal Spicer, but he
Yeah.
did that because of Diablo. We were all playing Diablo.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah.
I can. The funny thing is, I can remember as a little kid, my brother getting in trouble for. He didn't realize he was stealing, but we were at a supermarket and he wanted a pack of the Garbage Pail Kids cards, and
Yeah.
he just kind of like opened it and put them in his pocket, and it was like definitely at that age where like you don't like I think he knew he was doing something wrong, but like he got busted by my mom and had to go take him back and go face the cashier and everything, and it was a whole thing. But I was like, why for Garbage Pail Kids? I mean, of all the things.
Yeah. What year was this?
Oh, this would
80s?
have been late '80s.
I was born in '90s, so like Garbage Pail Kids wasn't what
Yeah, they
was
were already
popular in the '90s. Yeah.
yeah they were already done by then. Like,
Yeah. Chucky
uh,
had came out, so we were afraid of shit like that.
exactly.
What came out?
Chucky.
Oh,
Chucky. Chucky and sleep. You were afraid of dolls and scared to go to sleep.
Yeah, thanks, Freddie.
Yeah.
what do you mean? Freddy was
I
my homeboy.
I asked that question to a lot of people who are like, who's like in concept the most terrifying, like iconic monster, like Freddy or Jason? And everyone's answer always seems to be Jason. And I'm like Jason is
Why?
not. He's like not that he's scary, but like in terms of concept, Freddy Krueger is the most
Freddy sounds
scariest
way
one.
worse.
He's
Well,
fucking
listen.
terrifying.
Yes, Freddy
Well,
does sound worse, and obviously, if you were gonna go to sleep and he's the nightmare dude, absolutely. But let me tell you this: I grew up like an hour and a half from a Camp Crystal
oh
in
yeah.
Florida, and it's not like I don't think that that's where the Jason thing comes from, but they leaned into it hard at that camp, and like and the funny thing is, in Florida, in some areas, there's algae that's phosphorescent that glows at night, and so you had all
Oh, so
kinds
it's
of like
bioluminescent. Yeah.
yeah, you'd have all these like ghost stories and stuff, and then it would never fail. There'd always be
So
some
let's start
jackass
with the
kids that
brushes,
go
and the
out
first thing I want
and
to do in
uh,
this
and
lesson
and
here
try to
is a reference image setup. In the last project,
put
we
that
found with the
stuff
VD
all
Vectors
over
our
them,
I used
and
in the
scare
display
people in
options
the
here
woods
the
and stuff. And
background
they're like,
images, which is okay if
I'll
you
be
have
right
one
back.
image or you only need the image as inspiration in the back. But you also can really use image planes inside of Houdini, and this is something I want to show you here. So let's deactivate the visibility of our glass here, and then we add from our tab menu a reference image. If you add this here, you have a container, and inside of this container, you also can double click it.
There we go. That's what we were looking for.
You see there's a cop network running here, and it delivers the image. So it's really close to the thing I've done last time, but here you have now the parameters on the
Do, 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 do. Models. Sculpt off. This one. Do, 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 do. We're gonna go with Master Sword Zelda. This one. Yeah, accept. There it is. And then we're gonna bring everybody back in.
How
Okay,
Cartoon
I'm back.
Network aired like an episode of Johnny Bravo where they had to watch Dragon Ball Z like get up, and I was like, no way that happened. I don't. I think I remember, and then I was like, "Holy shit! It actually happened." So it's fucking Johnny Bravo, like as a talk show host, and it's funny. He's literally like describing. I think he's describing the episode of the one episode of the Frieza saga from Dragon Ball Z because a girl wrote to him saying that, "Can you play Dragon Ball Z in your show?" So
That's
he like, we don't have enough time to like, you know, do the to watch an entire episode. So I'm just gonna speed it up and explain it.
nice.
So speaking of Dragon Balls, I saw a funny meme
No,
about
you didn't. Sorry.
about Yamcha, the character Yamcha.
Isn't he getting married?
Who?
Yamcha.
No. That dude's single forever.
I thought Yamcha was getting
I
married.
don't
Why is my radio
No.
not moving with
I
my
don't
brush?
think Yamcha ever got married in a comic book or in the manga.
Something's
Yeah,
weird with my
he's getting
computer.
married.
There was Oh, is he too?
Yamcha's girlfriend wants to get married.
Oh. I didn't know that. They hardly pay attention to the side characters. So far, like the last people to get an upgrade in Dragon Ball Super was Gohan and Piccolo.
Yamcha's.
That's it. And then they introduce other characters because, like, right now, Broly is getting trained.
His girlfriend's name is Pearl.
Uh,
Wait,
you need the movie's not bad. If you read the manga, so it's
Yes.
weird how Super works. It's like they gloss over certain details of the movie or of the show. Like, so if you watch like Battle of the Gods, like they kind of gloss over a lot of stuff. So you have to watch either the anime or watch Battle of the Gods to like understand what's going on in the manga.
she's like a
The manga's like
god or
weird.
something like that.
Who?
Yamcha's girlfriend.
When does he get a girlfriend?
It's in Super.
I don't
When?
remember that.
I
don't
know.
remember that at all.
Apparently, it's just happening.
Oh, it's like new.
Yeah, like it's brand new. Like in
I
the
don't
last
even
week,
remember
maybe.
it. Wait, there's a new chapter. Well,
I
they're
have
not
no
even
idea,
focusing on
dude.
it.
I just heard about it.
So right now, the chapter, like the
September
in the
1st is
manga-
when somebody posted it. Right.
Oh,
Yamcha finally
yeah.
got himself a girlfriend. And then I heard recently that she wants to get married or something like that.
like right now, like what I'm current on is they're kind of on like the manga's following the movie right now of Super, basically. So
Oh my
the
god. My ZBrush is all.
Broly, they show Broly training with Goku and Vegeta.
Interesting.
And then so Broly from the movie is canon. Not the last movie, the last Broly movie. That one's canon. And then Super the last movie is gonna be canon. So Gohan and Piccolo's powers.
You're not
is
talking
gonna
about
happen.
live action movies, are you?
No, the anime movie.
Yeah, I can remember watching a lot of Dragon Ball as a kid. My younger brother liked it, but it was like the show itself took so long to tell a damn story. Hell, it took so
Dude,
long just
the,
to
the
throw a
fucking
punch.
Dude, the
Do you know why
fucking
my
anime
radial's
takes forever. I was reading both
locked
the
to my
anime and
mesh?
I was like, dude, the anime takes forever.
Yeah,
Like literally, like the Zamasu storyline, like the Future Trunks storyline, that happened faster than the actual arc itself. I was like, holy shit, they really drag it on.
Hey, where do you start? Where do you start with a sword?
for a
Where
sword.
do you start?
Yeah, what's the best way
You
to
have a
start?
couple options, but whatever you want,
Kill,
really. Where are you? Let me view it. Also, side question: do you guys know why my radial seems to be locked? Like into center of mesh versus open mesh? I don't know what happened. It's never done this.
Go to your transformation and look at your radial over here. The transformation. Check there. Oh, right here.
Hold on. I can't see what you're saying. Where is it? Watch. Oh, you're not streaming, but you're streaming. You said go under transformations, go under my
Check
radial, and
It could be that.
Wait, do you have local symmetry turned on?
Oh yeah, that too.
yeah, I've turned it on and off, and it's still all over the place. It still won't go like
Well, that's
See?
centered on
unless
the
that's
mesh.
just symmetry. Yeah,
Or what are you trying to center it around?
center it around the ring so I could do
Okay,
more.
so
like
what you
wherever
want
the
to do?
mouse is.
Where's your gizmo?
Oh, are you saying? Okay, I think I know what it is.
Yeah,
then.
move
So
your
we'll have
gizmo
to-
down to the center there. Turn on the local with dynamic, and that will be your new center symmetry point. So
local
turn
with
local
dynamic.
on. And, no.
like
There's
this?
the dynamic on local. Local now has a dynamic feature. It should.
Oh wait, what?
Local.
Okay,
the
wait.
local symmetry. It should say dynamic. Above as part of that button. The button that you press to turn on local, there should be a dynamic. Or are you
Yeah,
on, wait,
under.
or
Oh, he has
which-
2021.
You're in 2021. Okay, so yeah, that won't be there then.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you're not crazy. That's just
I'm like,
So-
I don't remember this doing this to me, but I should be able to just move freely, and it should radial based on the position.
well, no, radial has always been tied to the center of whatever mesh you're doing or you're working on, but when they added the dynamic button
Right.
onto local symmetry,
So if I added
it
locals
ties it to the
right
gizmo.
here, we turn it back on. It's
No,
still
it's
gonna
not.
move only.
It's not going to do it in your version because that was a 2023 update.
Okay. What do you guys think the fix is then? If I wanted to use radial.
That turn on radial symmetry. The button. Remember when I showed you to go to stroke, or was it transform? There's a right here. There's
Well, I was
a
looking
R.
there, and I see active symmetry running on.
Do you see the R?
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah. So you have that clicked on.
Right,
He's
but if
trying
I
to
try
get
to
to be
use this right
radial in the
now,
center of that specific area that he wants.
yeah, see how
Oh,
it's
so
gonna do it in the
turn-
center of the mesh.
That's
we don't need that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work in your version. It was one of the updates that.
Right. What's the workaround then, or do I just not get one? I have
So-
to go by hand.
I mean, you either do it by hand with regular X symmetry, or
Right.
B.
Or I think
the other
it's on Z. I don't know why it's on Z.
What
when
it is?
It's
What
facing
it is?
forward.
Your mesh is looks like it's
Oh, it's not. It's off the world.
it. Yeah. So go from the side. Let me see it in side view real quick. That's why, because it's the the radial symmetry around it is. You're trying to sculpt around that hole where the mouth is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the mouth is not
Like-
the center of the mesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. What I would suggest, or at least the way I would do it, if you need radial for that detail, make it with a separate piece of geometry and then just like dynamic.
And then append it in. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bring
That's
out-
probably gonna be
that
the most
might be the
expeditious way.
play.
Add 1 and 2.
bring it in. To
Oops, I'm on right next.
I have to lay down.
Yeah,
for
I
a
see what
bit,
you mean.
get
That's
dizzy.
probably-
all right, man.
I forget. We don't have to be a slave to one G mesh, so.
Yeah.
My stuff is saving as a default, though. I'll have to talk to you guys about that later.
It's what?
Like my previous projects are reloading themselves as a.
Oh, there's
Oh,
a setting. There's
Yeah,
a setting in
something
preferences
something
for
changed, so I'll mess with it later. But I might pick your brains about it.
I'll be lower. mirror mount.
Yeah, I only know because I just saw it recently. Okay, so if you go under preferences, there's a tab called, or there's a sub menu called startup, and the only option on there is auto load recent projects. So if you
Yeah,
go to
I should have a
preferences and check
template that auto loads over it, but
no. What I'm saying is under preferences, you go to startup, there's an auto load recent project. So look for startup. That's yeah. So
so
you
it's
have it
just
turned on. So it's literally loading your most recent project.
so
instead
now
of
if I
your
boot back
default.
up, it should do my default settings, whatever I set.
Yes, it
Oh,
should.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was looking at it, and I was like, why is this? Why did it load up old projects automatically? I was like, I've never
Yeah.
had to do that before.
Well, because I had to recently rebuild my UI, I just happened to see that. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't even know that existed.
You know what? That I also rebuilt mine recently. Maybe that's why it just jumped on.
Yeah. Well, I had to redo mine because Decimation Master wasn't working, and I had to submit a support ticket, and they were like, "Well, you
Usually,
gotta do
every
it."
time I have an
Ian's like,
issue, I just send it to Ian. Like, Ian, what can you? What do you think? That's why
It's funny.
Ian's always my go-to.
well, that was the
Arc
thing.
7, thank you for the follow.
I
Wow,
had issues
getting
out as
follows
well.
and stuff.
I
How
know.
did this already get off world like center?
What the
Well,
hell
you
is
have
going
to
Twitch
on?
you have
doesn't
to
like you, man.
be on grid, dude.
I swear.
I got that joke. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's probably also part of the issue here.
That you're not on grid.
That I wasn't like on the center point.
Like center of the world, yeah.
Yeah, like I need to be world centered.
Yeah, on grid.
It's like I hate you.
You got to be 0,
I'm
0,
focusing,
0.
okay? Leave me alone.
I'm helping.
Your coordinates aren't 0, 0, 0. You're wrong.
You're right.
Interesting. This master sword is not 100% straight.
Let me see.
No. I probably should not make that joke.
Yeah, true
When
story.
that filter catches you just at the right second.
No, just make sure your model is symmetrically like balanced, even if the image is slightly off.
Like you have a, when you have a quip for something and you like
Mhm.
want to say it, but you're like,
Should I?
yeah, probably should say it. I'll just leave it alone.
Yeah, it might be even for the best.
As me at work too. I'm like that at work. Should I? My quip too is like when I start grading and I compare the mistake to a meme.
Yeah.
So like so like if like the proportions on this is off, it kind of looks like this guy. So the first one, I think the first one was like, who are you trying to do? And then he was like, oh yeah, I'm trying to do I think he was trying to do like Johnny Depp, or I don't know who it was, I forgot, or some Sons of Anarchy character. And I was like, you know who he looks like? He
Yeah.
looks like Joel Osteen. I was like, do you know who that is? I was like, no? Okay, let me show you.
Yeah.
Or I'll make memes sometimes, like I'll not memes, but I'll make a reference, like an 80s or 90s reference, and they don't get it.
Yep.
And then I'll be
Yep.
like,
It hurts.
last semester I did like Cornhead, and it's like, you guys don't know Cornhead? And then it's like, nope, we don't know. It's like, and then I always like reference something they had, because a lot of them would mention old school games that I've never played. So I'll
Yeah.
play like PlayStation 1 games, like, yeah, I love that game. And I'll be like, how do y'all know what how do y'all know what that is, but don't know what Cornhead is? It's like,
Priorities.
oh yeah, I love Metal Gear Solid, the first game, but doesn't know Cornhead.
That's
And then
right.
that will be my like scope for the day.
Interesting.
That is pain, Nordy. You know what's pain? I'm sculpting I had a stream once, and I was sculpting Red Sonja. This is long, like 3 years ago. No, when I critique, I mention memes. So like last semester, this last semester, we had I had a student who had like a neck, like his neck was kind of off. He was doing Daredevil, so I brought out the thick neck dude,
Yes.
and then another person, his head sculpt looked like Joel Osteen, so I was like, he looks like this guy, and then it's Joel Osteen.
Good old.
Then um, I don't use it as a meme, but there is a meme existing. But
Mhm.
I did who was it?
Oh wait,
I
I think this
I had to
is.
describe unwrapping to them. What unwrapping was? I was like, oh yeah, it's like when you're wearing a gimp suit and you take it out, you have a zipper from the back of the head. That's basically unwrapping. Or I'll do the chocolate. I did 3 morbid explanations on what unwrapping was. No, one not so morbid. One is, but one morbid one like not so morbid, and the other one was just kind of like weird. So I was like, I did the Christmas chocolates to describe unwrapping, and then I described like wearing a gimp suit, and
Zach, how are
then
you, by the way?
and then the third one was basically the morbid one where it's like, you know how you like remove your skin from your face. That's unwrapping.
Eh, I've I've come a bit too far to do that. I think
Unwrapping,
no to do what Voxel's
removing your
suggesting.
skin. Oh, okay.
Well, who doesn't want to remove their skin? Jeez.
Um, victims of Pinhead.
Back.
What's wrong with them?
They don't um they don't know what good suffering is.
Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
Of the-
Okie dokie.
Oh, I'm gonna make that meme from now on. Every time I'm gonna have that meme up during finals. This semester was just so awful because everyone like the program change, not the program change, but like the licensing for ZBrush kind of like wigged out, and then just a lot of people not turning in stuff at the right time.
Yeah.
But
Chasing down students for work. So much fun.
yeah, it's chasing down students. But like I'm gonna have a meme ready. I'm gonna call it it's the Hellraiser meme. He goes, "Please, no tears. It's a waste of good suffering." For finals.
So the school you teach at, it's not a public school, right?
It is. It's a
Oh, it
community
is?
college. Yeah, it's a community
Oh,
college.
community. Okay, yeah, college. Yeah. I was gonna say if it's like not a college, then yeah, you gotta watch it in some of those because man, you always find somebody touchy.
Oh,
Uh,
there's people touching, dude. That's I'm not. Yeah,
college, you should be fine
uh,
though. College, you get away a little bit more.
it's community college. There was some instances where like just some people. When I was a tutor, some people
Yeah,
like, dude, you need to like calm the fuck down.
those
Or
community colleges, they're just happy to have students.
yeah, which is smart. We actually started an esports team, believe it or not. And I thought it was interesting that they were doing an esports team, and which is an interesting idea because I think they thought that like, well, if they start an esports team, they can incentivize like students to go into college, right? Basically, if they're good at playing video games,
Yeah.
they can get a scholarship.
Oh, dude, Full
That
Sail did the
that
same thing.
That's an incentive. Yeah, but full
Oh,
sail's
did you go to
expensive
Full
as
Sail?
shit.
Yeah, they are. They're ridiculous, and I still ended
Yeah.
up with debt even having the GI Bill.
Really? How'd you
Yeah.
end up with? Oh, I ended up with
Because
debt, but
it's a
that's my fault.
because it's a private school, and so you have to use stuff like the Yellow Ribbon program with the post 9/11
Even
GI Bill, and it still
even
doesn't
if you
cover it.
use the, even if you what? That's fucking weird.
I
Yeah.
thought
'Cause I
your
went to the
school
art
was
institute.
supposed to be entirely paid for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
me
because
too.
sometimes the school doesn't. But that's weird that you still have to pay with the Yellow Ribbon program because it's supposed to cap it. Because I went to the art institute, which is a school just as expensive,
Yeah,
and on my first degree, it was pretty much paid for.
that's
I
crazy.
didn't have to. I
Well,
didn't
I
have to
knew.
spend a
So
single
one of the
because
things I know
the
that
art
drove,
institute offered the Yellow Ribbon program as well.
yeah. So one of the things that I know drove mine up a little bit was obviously they always, well, not always, but like with the federal student loans and stuff like that, they'll offer you more for like living expenses and stuff like that. And even though I had GI, I was taking like a little bit here and there, and it wasn't much. But I'll tell you, I haven't even made a dent in them, like in repayment and stuff. And
Did you have any? Did you have any? Not like dent, but like, did you have any like other stuff that the school paid for, like in terms of supplies, or did they pay for like housing and stuff like
um,
that?
no,
Did
so
you
full
do
sail.
housing through the school?
No. I had to, but I did. I had to have an apartment, and so the thing that kind of got me was I had gotten out of the Marines, and I went to I spent a year kind of figuring out what the hell I wanted to do, and when I ended up going to Full Sail, I'm from a couple hours away from where the school is from, so I had to move down here. My
Spend some
family
time
is
for
still
getting into
back home, so I'm paying for
their
2 apartments.
lectures today because apparently researching
Um,
data management
it was
platforms is part of my job
it was
description.
pretty crazy.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's bizarre. Because
Yeah,
I went to the art institute and they're just as bad, if not worse.
yeah,
And they paid for my first degree. It was paid for fully. My second degree, that's my fault. I decided to go in again and then I ended up getting I got out with a car payment like 30,000.
yeah.
Not as much
Well,
as
yeah, no,
everyone else dealt with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like that's the thing. I got out with somewhere in the same neighborhood, but like having a family with at the time I had 2 kids. Now we're up to 4 kids. But like and being the only, well, I wasn't the only, my wife worked at the time some, but like we just were not making enough. So I did the income driven repayment program, which the only kind of like, I guess, saving grace with that is the fact that they made my payments $0 a month. And I was like, well, what? I don't understand. How can the payment be 0? And so those count towards the whole, like, after 25 years they'll just forgive everything. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll do that as long as I can until, you guys say I need to start paying this or that. But if I was paying like the full amount, it would have been like 500, $600, $700 a month. And I was like, I can't afford that, I just couldn't. Like there was not
Yeah.
work paying enough to cover that, and it was, yeah.
What'd you go to school for?
I went for, well, I went through the computer animation track program, and they were at the time trying to push a lot of people going into game art, and I was like, well, I don't want to do game art, and also the game art degree did not
It
have a
was
demo
like
reel.
new. It was kind of new.
Well, yeah, they didn't have a demo reel at the end in finals, and I was like, well, if you want a job, you need a demo reel, and computer animation had a demo reel. I was like, well, I'll do that. I'll still have the gaming skills, like I still know how to build game assets.
Spoiler
But
alert, you don't need a demo reel unless you're
exactly,
animating.
yeah. My demo reel has never gotten me a job, not once. So yeah.
Don't worry, my
Live,
demo
you
reel
learn.
has never gotten me a job either.
Yeah.
You
To
have
be
to make a demo
fair,
reel. Oh, you never went to school.
I
Oh,
went
you
to
just went to
school.
school. Well, you
I
just
just
went to
finished school.
But I'm sorry. I meant like, or before, like before you picked this.
But like you can put it this way too, like unless you're one of like the studs of the school that has like a demo reel they show at graduation or something, that's probably not, you're probably not going to get a job with that demo reel. And I mean, and I
Oh,
was
I mean, I
like,
was one of those students who like excelled in school. I still didn't get a job, so that doesn't mean
yeah,
anything.
same, dude. I was
Yeah,
the
it doesn't mean
valedictorian.
anything. Same.
Yeah, I was
I was
president, fucking dean's list and everything.
yeah.
I
the
was the
my job,
best
valedictorian, and then
person in my
Dean.
semester.
huh?
You were
Is
what?
I was the best student in my intake.
Wow.
Yeah, my school student demo reel did not get me any work. I can confidently say that. In fact, my first like full-time employment after school, I did a lot of freelance, but it was about a year after is when I got the job as a teacher. It was only because I had a bachelor's degree, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much the only reason I was able to get the job.
It's the only reason you go to college is for to say that you did it.
Yeah,
True story.
that sounds sounds about right. These days, I'm gonna, I don't know if this is something that changed recently or if it was always this way, but um, ZBrush remembers whether you have symmetry turned on and off by subtool, and I feel like it wasn't always like that before.
Nope. Just remember it if you had turned on at all or not.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, well, now I have 63 subtools, and I'm not always looking at both sides because I'm working on two separate feet. It's not the same as like sculpting a face. And so I'm like, I'll do a bunch of work and then I'll look at the other foot and like, I didn't do anything on that one. Time to mirror and weld.
Clay tube snap.
These feet.
Actually, let's use the hair. We'll do snake hook. No, not snake curve. Out. There you go.
This guy's finally feeling like I'm getting close to a point where I'm gonna finally pose this guy.
There we go.
Trying to mess shit up.
I feel like I'm finally moving on the right track with this guy. Maybe a simple
I
model,
feel like
but
I'm going nowhere.
if I can do it right, I'll do it right.
Look at that. Look at that. I've got a beautiful sword coming along.
Good.
Feel accomplished.
Any of you guys plan on going to the summit in person this year?
What summit?
I
ZBrush
kind of
summit?
want to.
I'd like to, but I don't think that's going to be happening, unfortunately.
I've been trying
Cause
for
the light
years.
box.
No, ZBrush.
No, I was like saying because the light box happened. Because
I'm going to
box
Lightbox.
also.
I'm 100% going to Lightbox.
What's that?
That I guess that is probably part of it. Too many trips.
I remember ZBrush Summit even like first started. I was like, oh, that's really cool, and they broadcast everything online.
Don't they still do that?
Yeah, they do. This year they're going to
This year it's gonna be
in
live,
person
yeah.
and online.
If I think Spicer decides to go and I might go. I'm not sure. So
Yeah, I always wanted to go do the sculpt off in person, but at the same time also no.
Have you done the sculpt? Oh no, you haven't. Have you done the sculpt before?
Yeah, I've done it before. Yeah, last
The-
year I got hosed by my laptop, and I think I lost connection, or no, it just locked up, and like an hour into it, and I lost everything I did. I was like, well, there's no way I'm coming back from an hour, you know.
Yeah.
So year
Was
before
it
that, I
last
did.
year or was it last year? Like this last year or the year
Yeah, this
before?
last year was the monuments.
Oh, I didn't do that one. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
busy on that one.
I
I
guess
did the year
technically I didn't
before.
either. Yeah, I did the year before too with the redesign an iconic character.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think there was like a miscommunication with that one
Oh, there
because
was
I
a
don't.
huge one.
Yeah, because like Paul was like, no wait, and then I was like, all right, we'll just go with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they meant fan art, and everyone ended up doing fan art.
Yeah. Didn't Harry Mandibles, Chris, he won something.
Yeah, he won. Shit, he made what did he do? Shit, trying to remember what he did.
He did shit.
Kermit and Miss Piggy, right? I think.
No, that's not him.
Doc?
That's Batman Pop Tart.
Oh, Batman Pop Tart did that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He did. Oh man, I can't remember what he did. Yeah, that one, the Kermit one was really good though.
Yeah, that
He
one was.
did place. Yeah, like whenever the first place prizes though for those like I don't know if I want the first place prizes. Can you just put me on third?
Actually, yeah, because what was it? Second place, I think, ended up getting like a 27-inch Cintiq, but first place didn't.
No, I think it was third place that got the Cintiq.
Yeah, something crazy like that. And then
And then
honestly, I think with the way that they should do these is because this
I think
last,
one of them got a space mouse.
yeah, well, but the guy that won first place last year, he's like an established installation sculptor in Canada, I think, and like well
Yeah,
known.
yeah, and then basically
And I'm like, maybe I know we're doing an even playing field here, but maybe there should be like, a novice class versus like a professional working class, or I don't know. Like
Rookies
you might be
versus
overthinking
pros.
it too.
no, because everyone gets something at the end of those, even though you
Yeah.
have it already.
Oh yeah, the XMD.
Yeah, the XMD.
I never use it.
I use it near the end of after I'm done with like big details. I use it.
I have like occasionally gone in to get brushes, and that's probably about it. And also like from years and years ago before they had the toolbox, I still have a lot of their brushes that I've just carried over, version after version. But the toolbox being an extra window was always kind of like, do I need to do? I just often wouldn't use it. Which I guess I've noticed in the dojo, like the actual sculpt offs, not a lot of people are still like, I guess, getting on to do those. They're just doing them separately and posting.
They do it separately and post it. But the reason why they do it is just because it's just a way to hang out.
Yeah, yeah.
But unfortunately, I stream on Tuesdays because those are my days to stream, so I don't really go there as much. If I decide not to, I'll go over there. And I don't stream at the dojo either.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be considered bad form.
For good reason, though. There's a good reason.
I hate it when there's just one random vert that just will not smooth, it won't move, like it's not masked, it just hangs out there.
This one, I think it's supposed to go up this way, I believe. There. No, that's not it. Stroke, bring the curve intensity down this way. Nope.
Worry about the leaves later.
Oh,
My orc man Mika is on, and I gotta annoy him. Talk to you later, MJ. Yeah, see you, nerdy. Mika miniatures. He's got some good stuff.
Becca? Heck. This way, go that way.
Chris PG. Let's try this again.
But Carbon, yeah, you were asking earlier. They're like, hey, how far are you? It's narrative. I haven't done anything really, but as far as like collections, I mean, just today I've almost finished the climbing gear, the Fierce Deities armor, and I did get all the flight suit.
I just got the
armor.
electric stuff.
Um,
I got the the rubber suit basically, and
only the top.
the barbarian one. I don't think I'll be using it though. Oh, the barbarian I'm using for sure.
The static's good. The barbarian one's way better for early. I'm going for Fierce Deity though, personally.
mm,
And I'm really close to finishing the set. Basically, I feel like I want to get myself set up to run all the story missions and then just get shrines in between on the way. But like I want enough stamina, maybe enough hearts. Maybe I'll actually start getting into hearts soon. But if I get enough stamina, if I get enough armors and weapons like loaded up, so I'm actually gonna go Korok seed hunting again.
Wait,
If I get all those, that
you
will probably
forgot
fund
what do you
well.
get again for Korok seed hunting?
Koroks give you weapon slots, both shields, bows, and weapons.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, right now
it's good to get
15.
some of them. I'm actually going to go hunting because I feel like I'm always overloaded and I can't pick up anything else when it's new and I enjoy it.
split down.
You know, like, oh, that's a really cool thing. Let me pick. Oh, I have to look at what my inventory is. Let me see what I got to get rid of in order to pick it up. I don't like that.
That's what I'm going through right now.
Yeah, so that's why I'm trying to like build up some Koroks. I'm gonna follow a guide for the first like 2 areas and just open up some slots. Which I've already done that on the starting island. Like I went back up and I got everything. When it came to sorry, I got a text. Yeah,
Texts
I've
are
already
not
cleared the
allowed.
stop, and then I'm gonna go from like what is it, the landing pad area? The very first place you go when you touch the ground. So
Oh,
I'm gonna do
yeah.
something like that.
I'm gonna be an engineer for the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Do engineer stuff.
Dude, yeah. And then once I've got everything kind of in a really, really comfortable spot, and once I've got all my armors and stuff upgraded, I'll start like running story quests.
Doing. Oh shit. Did I do something accidentally? The fuck? Oh, it's in the wrong. This, scrap that.
Zach was right again
What?
about how I should have done this. I think I'm gonna redo this. This is not working.
Your scope? I thought you were using Houdini.
I am.
Okay.
I didn't even. Where did Odon get off to? Did he leave?
He said he was gonna lay down for a bit.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had some stuff went down from work. From what he was telling me.
Spilling syrup.
Just on this face first.
Why can't I see the points?
Do what now?
I'm not seeing my points for some reason. Ah, there we go. Why am I not seeing? Oh, this is a primitive. Sweet.
So you gonna do the whole sword in Houdini, or are you gonna bring in the ZBrush at all?
I'm gonna bring it into ZBrush. This is a sculpting competition.
I heard
isn't it?
y'all suck.
Huh?
What's up, boys?
I mean, that's usually
Hey,
the case, but we're
girls.
actually doing okay tonight.
I forgot I don't. My I can't do hair quickly, so it is
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Which one are you doing for yours?
I mean, gosh,
Are you sharing?
I'll
Sure.
share it. Also, mind you, I only played Zelda 1.
Any character is any character. And if you have a reference, then you're golden. You know?
Yeah, I was telling my students that I should practice. Not practice, but like look at a lot of makeup tutorials and see if they translate.
Right. So I don't know if you can recognize who this is.
Sharing. There.
The Tingle? I'm just gonna keep saying Tingle.
Going for
Who the
Ganon?
hell's Tingle?
I'm doing Ganondorf.
Looks kind of like a Ganon. Is
Yeah, it is Ganondorf.
that a
Trying to
Ocarina of Time?
Let's see what you guys are doing. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Arkham is doing
Doing the Deku mask.
a mask.
Yeah. This is like what I guess a realistic kind of one looks like.
I think she's
Yeah,
still.
why not?
The eyes need
Yeah,
to be
but I
bigger.
like this one. This one's pretty cool.
Make her eyes bigger.
What are you doing, Suda?
I'm sculpting a sword.
Sword it is. And what about carbon?
Oh, I'm doing Kid Pura.
Oh, you going for Pura?
Yeah, Kid.
Oh, Kid Pura. Okay. I like that.
And she has smaller eyebrows. She doesn't have a lot of facial expressions. It's just funny. Or in-game facial expressions. It's usually just her, like with her backpack, and then like throwing out rock signs. Divide. Oh, wrong one.
Yeah, I don't know how to do hair quickly, which is gonna be like my huge failing.
Use I'll show you a trick here. Use a curve tube snap. This one right here.
Are you streaming?
Oh shit. I'm streaming, but I'm not streaming on Discord. Let me do this on Discord. There you go. So curve tube snap, right? So what curve
Yeah.
tube snap does is it snaps to the mesh whenever we draw in a curve.
Right.
We do a curve that doesn't there. Here you go. Right? Does that. Now, it doesn't look like mine right now because I did something. It's gonna look like an actual tube. But to do that, you're gonna go into
Right. You
stroke.
have to go to you have
Yeah,
to do
go
the
to yeah, so go to stroke under curve modifiers. It's gonna
yeah, just pinch the ends, right?
yeah, so there's this thing here. I'll close it here. It's gonna look like this if you don't know it. Curve fall off. You're gonna click
Yeah.
on that. It'll bring this up.
Yeah,
Create a
just
point in the middle. Yeah, create a point in the
and pinch
middle.
the
Pinch
ends.
the ends, and make
Yeah.
sure instead of intensity, it's on size.
Okay. So I'll try that because I'm using just like someone's rando hair things, and I'm not really digging it.
No, these are I made my own because sometimes the rent like there's some that are good and there's some that are just trash.
Well, this ended
Just
up
straight
being
garbage.
substantially harder than I wanted it to be.
Yeah, I don't know about this hair. I mean, it's just too wild and weird.
But the way you're doing it, if it's like, I've seen
I wonder if I could do this.
what I would do then if the hair is like that. What I would do is I would just get like I'll duplicate my eyebrows here,
Don't tell how to
and
come in that.
I've seen people just do this where
What are you doing?
Nothing.
and then use clay buildup and then just go like that, just very small.
Oh, right.
Stroke.
Do waves. I was
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
that, but
do
I just
waves.
wasn't like happy with it. I don't know.
Yeah. My trick too to doing hair sculpting hair is I do like damn standard, right, like this, and then I'll use clay buildup and then damn standard, but I'll use damn standard two different ways. So I'll use the Z add to create the hard lines, then
Right.
use Z
To
sub
make
to create the insides, and that's how I do my hair. Other part to that is understanding how hair, right, like
yeah, I'm gonna go
how
back and
yeah how
go to
hair
the
works, right?
original.
I think this might be a competition that I just don't do. I might be giving up on this.
Are you really using Houdini or are you just
He's really using Houdini.
Yeah, for the most part. Why?
oh okay. I was just wondering.
Yeah. I don't know. Houdini's just easier.
Yeah.
Although I think I'm doing it
I don't know if I
wrong.
really declare it in a sculpt on, but it can be part of the projects.
Yeah.
been going for about an hour, but I'm on like
Because
my
sculpt off,
8th try.
yeah, because I'm going off Pixelogic sculpt off rules.
What are their rules?
Use ZBrush only.
Oh yeah, fuck that.
So yeah, so you're
Oh yeah, but I don't care.
yeah. Oh, wait, who's this? Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and do H polish. Square parts out. No, not that.
I gotta practice. I see
Just
MJ's
because
here, but
the break it to mobile.
I think he's like I don't know what he's doing. Is he streaming?
He's streaming. Focusing on the Batman. I think that's the only reason why people are going to watch that Flash movie. It's just to see Michael Keaton.
That is the
So
only real
good, it'll
reason.
make you forget Ezra Miller is a criminal.
Yes. Just like I watched.
I don't even
like,
care
Black...
if he is a criminal or not. He is just a bad Flash.
Not my Barry.
Or he's a very bad Barry Allen. Yeah. Let alone the fact that he could, I guess, be any other Flash. There's plenty of them. But he's just not a
Don't know
good
much
Flash.
about
He's never
Flash.
was.
You don't know about the Flash? He's like literally one of the most important characters in the goddamn DC universe.
Oh no, I know about
My
the Flash.
vote
I
still
just
is get
don't
Grant
watch
Gustin to replace him in the role through the crossovers.
I
I wish
feel
he
the
was in the
same
movies.
way about. People are gonna hate me for this, but I feel the same way about
Right.
um Tom Holland.
You don't like him as Spidey?
He's
I don't-
as Spider-Man. He's great athletic, in terms of athleticism, but as like Peter Parker, no.
I think he's an
That's
alright
a
Peter
super
Parker.
spicy take, bro.
I think he's better than how they had
I-
Andrew Garfield
think-
portray him.
I think he's more. He feels more like, well, the way he's portrayed in the MCU feels more like Miles Morales, like a white version of Miles Morales. That's how I saw. I was like, yeah, it feels
You
like
know that
white
only
version of
exists though
Miles Morales.
because multiverse.
And I was like,
or Spider-Verse did what they did.
yeah.
Although, like, if
But
Spider-Verse
Tobey
never happened,
Maguire,
people
I
would be
think
like,
Tobey
eh.
Maguire, Peter Parker was great.
He's probably still one of the better ones.
Yeah, he's still one. The reason why I always make this joke. I was like do you know why the Sam Raimi Spider-Man is like the best Spider-Man out of all of them?
Okay, go on.
Because no other Spider-Man's gonna have Macho Man Randy Savage in it.
That's fucking awful.
How did I know that's where you're gonna take that?
So
like,
fucking bad. I'm just gonna say.
You guys don't like Bonesaw?
Bonesaw is here. It's quotable. I'll give you that. It's got the quotes.
I got you for 3
3
minutes.
minutes.
3 minutes
whole
of
minutes.
like 3 minutes of me time.
Mita.
That's a nice outfit that your husband.
Man, it
got
gets
for you.
funnier and funnier the more I like go back and watch it.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, but like I don't know, man. Multiverse of Madness. I think Raimi's kind of lost his fucking touch.
I actually like Multiverse of Madness.
It was not a good movie.
It's
I haven't
Actually,
seen
okay,
it.
let me rephrase it out. It was not a good movie for the medium and the genre that it was all in. Like, it is supposed to be a Doctor Strange magic catastrophe movie. It was
that one.
Sam Raimi's WandaVision horror.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
what
is
I
not-
wanted.
Yeah,
I'll
but
tell
that's
you
not
what.
what the movie's supposed to. That didn't market
That's
it.
what I
different.
wanted. I
But
wanted
there
like
was some-
a
there
horror
was some-
vibe.
Make it a different movie.
There was some
Nah.
dumb shit happening in that movie, and
The only thing I didn't like about that movie was I didn't like the Illuminati shit because it was, and the way they
God damn it.
mentioned incursions so casually. But in terms of like Doctor Strange and Wanda, I enjoyed that part.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
already sick of this.
It's not a Doctor Strange movie, man. It's barely about him.
Oh,
It
are you
has
sick of
hardly
yourself?
anything to do with him
Yeah,
and
I'm
what
already
he's going
sick of
through or
3D
doing.
modeling
Like,
tonight.
I'm really
Have you read
disappointed because I
ever
just
read a
wanted so
Doctor
much
Strange
more.
movie? Because Scarlet Witch is in a lot of Doctor Strange comic
It's
books.
not that she's in it.
I
She's
can't
literally the focus. Like,
Yeah,
you didn't.
because she's the
It's
villain.
like writing a. Make the next Sonic movie and make Tails the protagonist, and
I mean, I
tell me
can
how
say
many
that-
people fucking care that they're like,
I can say
wow,
the same thing about like
such a good pick.
Black Panther. I mean,
Sure,
but
yeah.
enjoyed
I
the
was
that
movie.
actually gonna do
conflicted- That was
this
actually a
this
villain
version of the
that
story.
was like
but
focused.
Yeah, it was focused on the villain in Black Panther.
I just can't anymore.
Sorry, Pseudo.
What?
Sorry, Pseudo.
Sorry for what?
Sorry that you blow.
No, I
You
swallow.
mountebank.
I think maybe bigger.
I mean, like, dude, it's not even like, this is such a no prize thing, so why stress it?
Yeah, that's why I'm
Yeah.
just gonna stop.
Well, you got what, 30, 40 minutes if you want to
Got an
try
hour.
something. Just go into ZBrush and see what you can do. That's my advice.
Why don't you
I
make a coconut like Arkham's doing?
no,
I'm
I
not making a
don't.
You can
coconut,
do-
okay?
I am going
a
to make.
Deku.
I'm going to make a
It's
new
made of
YouTube
wood.
video. Well, I'm in science and
There you go.
wait. Did I not save things?
Uh-oh.
I didn't. I'm still science and technology with making a blueprint. I mean tutorial.
To be fair, you did say like I'm just gonna start it right now, and then you press and I'm on, and then just.
I thought I
changed.
changed it.
Oh, I just realized. Yeah, I didn't even update my own stream title.
Hey, what's up, MJ?
What's going
What is it?
on,
Unreal
Voxel?
Engine.
I am Ganoning.
I mean, you gotta sometimes.
That
Sometimes
beginning
you
of
just
that
gotta
game
Ganon.
was basically like
Who
even if they
made
didn't
the
go into
Zelda
that
the
cave.
sculpt off theme?
So
Was
it's
that just you,
Unreal Engine
Carvin, or was that
tutorial.
like
No,
the other?
that was that was a dojo.
That was the
thing.
other chat.
Yeah.
So I can post this in the dojo then when I'm
Oh
done.
yeah.
Cool. I thought you were just with us and we were just doing it.
No, because I don't.
Alright, I am gonna go make a tutorial, so I'm
because I
going to
scoped on
hop off
Tuesday.
of Discord.
All right.
See you
Because
later,
I
bro.
stream.
See
Bye,
you
Because I
bud.
guys.
stream. I don't.
There was a tutorial that I wanted to do. Not that. I think this guy had it. That's what it was. Unreal Engine open door.
What's up, guys?
Alright, I'll be right back.
Guys, welcome to new Unreal Engine 5.0, and today I'm going to show you on how to interact with a door, how to open it and close it. It's going to be a very easy video to follow, so let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that we are going to do is basically create a new blueprint. You can do it basically in any folder. I'm just going to go into just a random folder. For example, I'm just going to go like in the third person folder, doesn't matter. And just go ahead and right click and say blueprint class. So basically we're gonna make it of type actor because it's basically just gonna be placed in the world and that's it. So let's select it and then we're gonna name it BP door, or you know, however you wanna call it. But anyway, so now let's go ahead and open it and just put it over here in the tab. And okay, so now let's add our you know, just door model. Of course you can use your own door model, but anyway. So basically I'm just gonna search for static mesh and I'm just gonna call this door. So now in here in the static mesh section I can use search for door, and we have some different doors. In my case I can just choose the first one. If you imported it with the starter content in Unreal Engine, which I think is used by default, you will also have this model. And if not, like I said, you can use I mean, you can even use like a cube or a plane or your own model. But anyway, here it is, our door. Now to make it look a bit nicer, I'm just going to duplicate this one and then say to outdoor door out, and then I'm just going to search for door and place door frame. Now we may need to move a bit door frame into be in the position where the door is at or whatever. You can tune it later if you want. Let's go ahead and now compile and save. So now we can go into the event graph, and basically we can now go ahead and just delete all of this. All right, so now what we can do is search for a custom event and just call this open door. So we will call this whenever we actually want to open the door, of course. So what we're going to do is simple. I'm just going to get the door and just drag it on here, and what we're going to do is set relative rotation. Here we go. So basically this will allow us to set a rotation, but of course we can just go here and find the axis, which would be like this. So basically the set axis will be, so we can just you know, go ahead and put like 90 degrees and it will open, but of course they will just snap it, and we want to have a nice animation so it can transition from one place to another. So let's leave that at 0, and what we're going to create is basically a timeline. So just search for timeline, we have add timeline, and just say open door yes, door timeline, or whatever you want to call it, right? And then in here just flag it from play from start, and then we are going to go here and just plug this into the update. Alright, so now we can go ahead and double click the timeline and we'll open this. So now we can just add a new track, which will be from a float, because we want to set basically a number so we can transition between the first rotation and the second one. And here, as you're going to say, door, load, I mean, it doesn't really matter. And then the length, how much time do we want the transition to be? In my case, I'm going to put something like 0.7. You're going to see actually, it's going to look very good. So just right click and just say add a key. And then here in time, it's going to be 0 and the value 0. And then in here, we're going to add another key. And this time, it's going to be 0.7 as it will finish and the value will be 1. Now we hit this 2, it will basically fit along the viewport. So now we can go back into the event graph and you can see that we have successfully gotten our output. So now what we can do is
I think he walked off in the woods and he's giving up on humanity. Technology was a mistake. Pseudo is returning to nature. Wait, no, he's bad. I was going to get a cup of tea.
Just drag this and say lerp, and you can see that basically now we can transition from two things. Now the A, actually the door flow, sorry, needs to go into the alpha because that's what will transition from one to another. So basically on 0 it's going to be our close rotation, and on B we're going to set it to 90 degrees because it's how we're going to open it. And as this value increases, it's going to transition from A to B. So now what we have to do is apply this. But of course we only want to affect the set. So what we're going to do is just right click in here and say split struct pin, and then we can get individually every axis. So now we just want to go and find to the Z. And now with that we can just compile and save. But now of course we have to call this function, well, this event, from the player when we want to open it. So let's go ahead and just open
the person your character you're using. So I'm just gonna find a cool spot, all right? And then what we're going to do is just when we hit E, so just type E key or whatever, and then just find the E. Once you just create a line trace. So just go ahead and say line.
Like, I think I understand where he's getting at right now, but I don't know if I like the idea of doing the transition like that, because like you wouldn't be able to do that over. Actually, no, you could do it over a network. Not everybody would open at the exact same time, but you could do it over a network by. What the fuck? Oh, sorry. Sleepy.
In this Unreal Engine 5 tutorial, you will learn how to create automatically doors very easily. In your content, I added a that's the name of my door mesh into my blueprint. So this is the door that we will be working on. We also need to add a box collision. So box, right now it's a child of door, so make sure it's not a child, so it is vision from different angles. Open. So compile, vision, drag off, create a timeline, name it door timer or something, anything you like. Double click on the door timer, let's add a flow track. Let's name this door timer or something. Shift click to create a node here. 0, enter, then 0. Then to set is the z-axis. So when I move it 90 degrees, the door will open. So this is what I want to do in my event graph as well. So we need to exit the z-axis, right click, split return. We need to connect this one up, and also get our timer, multiply it by 90, because we want to add it in 90 degrees, and connect this up to the new rotation. So compile, go back to your level, drag in your new blueprint that we created, not static mesh, remember we created a blueprint for this, and when I now hit play, you can see the door opens. Now there are some nifty tricks I want to show you. Let's say I want to automatically close the door when I just left. Again, in the viewport.
Could do that.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. So today's video, what we're doing is going back to some of the basics of Unreal Engine 4, but obviously doing it now inside of Unreal Engine 5, and today's video is going to be how to open and close a door inside of Unreal Engine 5, and the way I'm doing it today is also going to be very efficient and very customizable. So let me hit play and show you what I'm doing today. So go over here to this door, press E, and this one is going to take 5 seconds to open, I believe it was anyway, but it's going to open, and then press E to close it again after obviously walking through if I wanted. And the same with this one, just to show you can have multiple doors within a level, and they will still all open and close and work perfectly how you want it as well. And again, this is very easy to customize. So I've gone to this door, I can make this one take 5 seconds to open and 3 seconds to close, and this one over here, I can have 3 seconds to open and 5 seconds to close if I wanted. Obviously it doesn't make much sense, but it's very easy to customize to see how long it takes to open and close in seconds, as you can see there. And what we're going to do is going to be adding the door mesh, we can change that as well if we wanted, change the collision box size, all these different things we can customize however much we want to. And like I say, this is also going to be a nice efficient way of doing it, and we're going to be using blueprint interfaces, so this tutorial will also teach you how to use those as well. So without further ado, let me take this code and I'll show you how I've done it. So the first thing we want to do is we want to actually create our blueprint interface so we can interact from our character with the door. So to do that, we can obviously press Control Space to open our content browser, and then we just want to create a new blueprint interface. So I'm going to be just doing this here. So I'm going to right click, go to blueprints, not blueprint class, but blueprints under create advanced asset. Then we want to create a blueprint interface. This one I'm going to name interact interface, as that makes most sense to me, and we can then use this for anything we want to interact with as well. It doesn't just have to be doors, it can be doors, picking things up, or anything which you want to interact with. We're going to open this up straight away. In here, all I'm going to do is name this function interact, and that's all we need to do. This is a read-only function, so all we need to do is give it a name. We can compile it and save that. What you can do if you want is give it an input and output, so just as some examples. So I'm going to create them. I won't use them, but I'll create them just to give some examples. So what you can do is give a new parameter on the inputs, name this one interactor, and then make this a character object reference. And an output, you could have, if you reset that there, you can have an output as did interact. But next up, we need to actually call this interact interface. So once again, we're going to control space. This time we're going to open up our character blueprint. So for me, that's content, third person, right click, and so every time the player presses the button which you set up in the array element, we're going to get does implement interface, with the interface being our interact interface, which we
This is equivalent to a cast.
just set up here. Then this is obviously, then we're going to check the next item player.
At least in C++ it does, which we want to avoid.
The next step is now actually setting up our door blueprint. Now allow us to interact with anything in our world. So instead of having to do all the code in each individual blueprint, you do it once here, and then just set up the interact code within the function in each blueprint, and it should be able to call it here perfectly. So again, it's nice and efficient and a lot easier. So we can compile and save that. Now we're going to close that, as that's all we need to do there. The next step is now actually setting up our door blueprint. The mesh instead of this one, that's perfectly fine. What we need to make sure you do though is have the axis point on each side here. So when you rotate the mesh, it will rotate like that. Otherwise, it will rotate from the middle, and that's obviously not how a door opens. So you want to make sure the origin point of the mesh is in the correct location, so it actually rotates on the side like this. Then after this, we're going to deselect it and add a box collision, like so. And then we just want to scale this up to be the correct size we want. So what this is doing is basically if the player is inside of this box, they can open and close the door. So again, this is now how the interact code in our blueprint in our player is seeing what we're overlapping. So if they're inside of this box collision, they're overlapping the door, so they can interact with it. So just keep that in mind how big or small you want this. If the player is within.
Wow, lots of people have started joining Discord. I don't like this business. Sorry. So far, I think Grok is the best.
Hey everyone, welcome to a quick and easy tutorial. In this I'm going to show you a quick way to make doors that you can open and close. So go into Content, we're going to make a new folder called Blueprints. Open this up, and we're going to create a new actor from Blueprint class. We will call this BP door. We can open it. And we're going to replace the default scene root with a seam, so just drag it over, it'll replace it. And we need to add 2 static meshes. One is the door frame, and the other is the door. So we know the static mesh, and we'll call this door. Now, door frame, you can just search for door frame. There's one that comes with the starter content. So if you have starter content on, you'll get these. And in this one, we will just search for door. Now the door's pivot point is on the left, so we will need to adjust it by changing this snap size to 5 and moving it over 45 units. Now before we continue, there's one more thing we have to do. With the starter content door, it doesn't have any collision enabled. So double click on the static mesh right there, and we are going to...
So I guess there's kind of 2 questions. Unreal Engine. Do either that or the chaos destruction?
What's up guys, welcome to new Unreal Engine 5.0 and today I'm going to show you on how to make a simple explosion. We're going to be using chaos physics and some starter content particles. So it's going to be a very easy bit to follow, so let's get started. But first, check out the link in the description to get awesome Unreal Engine courses on WinFox. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is go ahead and drag an object into scene and then convert it to use the chaos physics, okay? So I'm going to be using a simple cube here, so I'm going to...
No, like you said, that would be overkill. Like...
You go to collision, add box, simplified collision. If you don't see anything, R, you can set the X to the event graph. You can delete all the one boolean. And we just want to ask if the door is closed. And if it is, we want to open the door. And if it's not, then we want to close the door. We're going to do this with a timeline, and we'll call it open door TL for timeline. So if the door is closed, we want to play this to open the door. And to close the door, we will reverse this. So open up the timeline. You want to adjust the length right here for how long it will take to open the door. I'm going to say half a second. Then we want to add a float track and an alpha. Right click and add 2 keys. One, the time will be set to 0, and the value will be set to 0. And this one, the time will be set to half a second, and the value will be set to 1. Press on these to fit it into the screen. You can click both, and right-click and choose Key Interpolation Auto. This will make for a smoother opening and closing. Back in the event graph, we want to pull this over a bit, and we're going to set this variable twice. One for the true, one for the false. So when it's opening, we want to set this to false, and then when it's closing, we want to set this to true. Now in update, we just want to get this door and set the rotation, so set relative rotation. Because what we want to do, if we click E to rotate, you can watch right here, or I'll just do it in right here. We want to rotate on the Z-axis and open it 90 degrees. We're going to set this back to 0 for default. Back in the event graph, we will plug this into update. And out of here, we will make a rotator. This is because we only want to do it on the Z-axis. So we're going to lerp the Z, which stands for linear interpolate, and that will go from A to B based off an alpha, which will come from right here. A will be 0, B will be 90, so we can rotate 90 degrees. And that's it for the door. Now we just need a way to actually activate that custom event, because right now we can walk into our door and nothing happens. So we want to open our first-person character, or third-person character, so work either way. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break the spawn projectile, just so we're not spawning projectiles, because I want to use the search input left mouse button. So basically, if we click, I want to create a line trace by channel. And if it hits the door, we want to open or close it. So for the start and the end, we want to grab our first-person camera. If you're in third person, just grab the third-person camera. And we want to get the world location and the forward vector. The world location will go into the start. The forward vector, we have to multiply by a float. This will be how long the line is, basically how far your reach is. I like 500. And then we have to add these two together, vector plus vector. And this goes into the end location. You can also set the draw debug type to for duration to see the line you're creating. It'll go from your camera to this many units away from your camera. So if we break the out hit and get the hit actor, we'll just have to cast to BP door. So basically saying if this hits the BP door, then we want to call the open door custom event that we created. Right before we test it, we're going to go into the viewport, grab our capsule component, and set the capsule radius to 34. This way we'll actually be able to fit through the door. It's a little too wide at the moment to be able to fit through. So now if we hit play, we can now click, and if it hits the door, it will open and close it. And the way we set it up is it doesn't even have to open all the way or close all the way. If we just kind of rapidly click, it'll go from the point that it's at when it reverses, and we can now walk through, close it, obviously not walk through. And that is it. That's how you create a very simple opening and closing door. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please consider subscribing.
Have I not been able to open this epic stuff? Library. Launch. Hey, Zach. Question for you. What do you think? Should I make the open door a? I think I'm gonna make it a actor component. Would it be an actor component? I think it'd be an actor component. Because like that way we can slap it on other things, right? How long of a video are you shooting for? Minute to two? Maybe a bit shorter? You can put it in a component, yeah. It could be a bit longer, up to 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes is probably the max I want to do here. I'm going to test this in blueprints, right? So we start with the door. Why is the door being that way? Oh, funny door. Uh, go. Add a timeline. Actually, no, I guess this would not be a component. This would be a... Yeah, no, this wouldn't be a component. It would be a interface because we want something that can be opened but doesn't... that has different functionality attached to it. And we can't do that with a component. Component will have a singular type of thing. Now, we could do a component that is flagged as interactable that calls to the parent, but that seems like a bad idea. Although it might not be, because then we could do parent and then guess interface does make the most sense. I do want this to be a component though. I feel like if I could turn this into a component, it would be more dynamic. But I also think that if I turn it into a component, it will be more expensive. Zach, you still around? Right, it's here.
trace by channel. This will create an invisible line which will detect what we have to do is apply it. So now we use, but of course we only want, we're going to set to 90 degrees because it's how we're going
To do. Yeah. Move this
Hey
over to
guys,
the other
welcome
screen.
back to another unmentioned 40.
So was this update? We're going to set rotation. Was it set?
go along the viewport. You can see that basically, we just plug this, here we go. So basically this will allow us door. So we will code this whenever we actually want to open the door, of course. So what we're going to do is simple. I'm just going to get the door and just drag it on here. And what we're going to do is set relative rotation. Here we go.
I figured it was probably going to be relative location, but update. Huh.
Here we go. So basically,
Unreal Engine rotator. Linearly interprets between A and B. Nice. Wait, is it this? No. Yeah, it's this. And add wait, is this it? Yeah, timeline component. That was beautiful. That was so much easier than the other guy's one. I suppose it also helps if you put your small talk hat on, approach it from the perspective of message passing. Simplifies the conceptual model a lot. Yeah. Slurp. This is not working. It says no suitable user. Slurp. Oh, excuse me. This makes sense. Mm. So if we want an interact interface, we can do an interact interface or an interact component. If we do an interact component, we have to add it to the component. Though what I'm thinking is we have an interface called an interact interface, and the interact interface calls the open door component, or the open component. Hey Zach, can I hop on a call with you and poke your brain? Interpolation methods that ensure shortest path interpolation across the surface. Sure. You want to do Morty's, or should we just do a direct call? Okay, I'm just gonna call you then.
Alrighty.
Hey, long time no chat.
Yeah. So, what are you thinking here?
Well, all right. So I do want a component. Like, I kind of want a component. But if I have a component, then it's got to be like an open door component, right? Because like a component doesn't force you to implement something, right? Or override something.
Right.
Like an interface does. And an interface makes the most sense for the interact. But if we want to keep things reusable, maybe an interface for the interact, right? Like,
Right.
and then the interact interface calls some interact component. Maybe that component could be like something else, right?
Yeah, so
Feels
what you want to
dirty.
think of here is your interface is just kind of your glue layer for getting kind of a generic interact message through. I mean,
Yeah.
it can literally be an argumentless function call. then it just becomes a matter of on the actor, or more properly just in your base class, of putting together the logic of how it iterates through its list of components to trigger related behavior.
Yeah. Mm.
Because ideally, what you'd want for any kind of system like this is the ability to just drop on a door open component, and then that just hooks up with that base class's implementation for that interface, and it will just call that requisite behavior. So that way you can just use those components in a true composition-like fashion.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure if that would be a good way of going about it. It seemed like a good way of going about it, but like I can see some flaws. But
Well, performance-wise, so for your interface, you obviously have your pointer indirection for your virtual function call, but that really only matters in like hot loop every tick sort of things.
Yeah, which wouldn't ever be happening.
And so then for, enumerating the component list and things like that, that's kind of a do once, or at least, do asynchronously sort of thing. So that's even something you could punt off to a task in C++ for re-enumerating entity capabilities.
Well, I plan on doing this all in C++.
Yeah. So yeah, that's actually an ideal thing for doing as tasks. You can do that in an entirely separate thread, technically.
I think a task would be too much.
Yeah, probably for the scope of this video. But then, yeah, you essentially you don't get the full, SOA pattern goodness of efficiency.
Cervantes.
Oh yeah. Hey, Cervantes. I do actually guest star occasionally.
Yes, he does guest star on my Twitch every now and then.
So I suppose the main point of inefficiency here is defining your calling method on these components.
Well, okay, so what I was thinking was, so let's kind of build this out a little bit. Like the idea here would be to create the blueprint interface, right?
Right.
Interactable interface, right? And then here it would be interact, right? And maybe this maybe this would have an input of an actor, right? And then save, compile, right? And then here we would have to do, is it class settings? Yeah.
Oh, Cervantes, just wait till you hear the song that I contributed to.
The amazingness that is the song that comes out tomorrow. There, right? So now if I compile, why is it not complaining? I did that right, didn't I?
Sorry, let me catch up. What exactly did you do?
I added the interface, right? BP interactable, yeah.
Right.
This should be right. How is this compiling without throwing an error?
So there is a known error in Unreal about open editors not updating on feature changes and classes.
Oh, okay. So this just needs to be closed, or the full editor needs to be restarted.
It should just be the editor for the blueprint.
Oh, it's so weird. But then it becomes a function I need to override, right?
Yeah. Now, one thing I do want to note here is on the topic of just overriding shit, that's where you make your interaction components work without casting.
Here?
So for your interaction component, you just make a base interaction component class and then subclass that for your door component. So you can just call one interact function on the base class because you just have an array of interaction components, and then exploit your casting. Sorry, not exploit your casting, exploit your inheritance. But yeah, now that you have that interact from the interface overwritten,
Yeah.
you just need to decide how you're going to store these interaction components on your main blueprint. Do you want to be able to add them at runtime? Do you want them just as a static member of a class definition?
Oh, and for this case it would be right because this could be different on everything.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So I was thinking that this would be like a open door component, right?
Yep.
And
And you
then-
can even go so far as just the plain old U object. You can go really far in abusing those for expanding entity abilities.
For the for the interface, or
So since this is kind of since you're just relying on essentially external input, this is event driven through this interface. All you really need to encapsulate any of these entity behaviors is something that's capable of ticking for performing action over time as a coroutine, right? And so your minimum class for that is actually just your plain old U object. A component gives you a little bit of extra, but that just kind of becomes a matter of preference for how bare or minimum you want your inheritance to be.
I might understand.
So both structs and U objects are wrapped in the reflection system as kind of the same basic level of parameterization in Unreal.
Yeah.
And so theoretically a struct in Unreal, specifically a U struct, can technically tick for some god-awful reason.
Well, of course I can. Come on.
Yeah. But at that base level of encapsulation for a U object does not need to exist on an actor in a scene or even in a reference world. A U object is as close as you can get to a vanilla C++ object, but it can tick. And so you'll find, like, in the smart object system, in any of these systems where you can tell they're loosely modeling an entity component system for performance reasons, and yet they seem to just spawn objects upon objects in order to, like, encapsulate tasks. That's because those objects that they're spawning are these bare-bone U objects.
Which are super, super light. Well,
yeah, they're
mostly.
as trivial as you can get on the heap.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just doing this like just simply with that door open component, then yeah, for this you can then essentially just have it to just directly call your logic. You know your classes, you have pretty much everything there, and so then it just.
Would there be any?
Go ahead.
Sorry, would there actually be any advantage? Well, no, this is hard because like I really want a component, but I think a component makes us so much more difficult.
So that's going to kind of come down to what you want to teach in the video. You know, what are your learning objectives? Put on your professor hat here.
Well, I want to teach good practices, right? Like the last thing that I want to do is try and show people bad ways of doing things. So
right,
using an interface is a given. This does need to be an interface. Because like we need to get people into interfaces. And this is very interfaceable. Now the component, I feel like it could go either way, and there could be an argument for this being a component, but this also could be an argument for it not being a component, because actor components don't have meshes, right? Can they have meshes? I don't think so, right? Because it's a
So
component.
like, okay, so technically that door frame is a static mesh component.
Yeah.
So the main thing is just a question of, yeah, a component doesn't. Are you talking about the whole can a component have a component part?
Yeah, like statically, right? Like, can it require a component? I don't think it can it?
So you can you can set up your constructor to essentially consume components on construction in order to initialize the component correctly.
Yeah, so like begin play, or
So
when it's being called, right?
When you set up your variables in the component, you can expose those. You can expose variables in the constructor, so that way essentially it'll be assigned before begin play is called. So that way when begin play triggers, you don't need to do any discovery of those variables because you know that they're going to be assigned in your constructor.
Wait, I think, one sec, let me see if I can think of a way of doing this, right? Because in order for this to be called from the door, it needs to be an event, right?
So you can call either events or functions on an object you have reference to.
Is there an advantage to a function over an event in Blueprint?
So if there isn't any asynchronous behavior, there isn't a practical difference.
If there is?
So if there's async behavior involved, obviously that if you make a function, you then have to call out from your own function to then events in your component. So if you know that there's going to be anything async, or if you're using the zero delay trick, if you do a 0-second delay node, it will essentially kick the rest of that event asynchronously, so it will actually make it lazily scheduled.
Really? So like this,
Yeah.
and then zero, it punts it. So
Yeah.
next, like an async await.
So that essentially means that it will happen on the next frame, but next frame is a loose concept.
Okay, that makes sense. So an event would technically be better, so it could be punted too.
Yeah, and so like there are some things, like if you're doing like asset initialization, or like you're taking a weak object reference and turning it into a strong reference, there's actually a decent number of technically asynchronous functions and things that you can be calling in your events. It doesn't really apply in the scope of this.
Or no, this would just be a mesh, right?
So do you actually need to operate on a mesh, or do you just need to operate on the closest class that contains a transform?
I was going to pass in this door.
So think about the inheritance tree. Well, and also you wouldn't necessarily need to cast if you're just passing it in, because then you're already getting your type.
Oh, I didn't mean to cast.
Okay.
This was just going to be a timeline component. Oh, you have to pass.
So this is the you can't put a component in a component part.
Yeah. Huh. I wonder if that could be done in... No, that couldn't be done in C++ either, could it?
So this then kind of puts you in a position of how do you do the management of timelines?
Yeah, I guess this would have to be like passed through, right? But then it breaks the entire idea of having it all together.
Yeah, well let me check some docs
I
here.
I think if I just do this as C++, it just makes more sense for what I wanted anyways. Instead of having a component that calls it. Like I think the baseline makes more sense for if like some of the ideas that I was having make more sense if I'm doing things in Blueprint. Because I'm
Yeah.
doing them in C++, it makes it even easier to probably do it the way that I would do it anyways. Yeah, I think a component's probably the wrong way.
So for the timeline component, that does kind of, you can technically cheat around a timeline component. The timeline component inherits from actor component specifically.
One second. Well, so sorry. Does that actually make like an async call to this?
Oh, for calling on your own interface?
Yeah, because it's a message, right? I'm just curious.
I think I think it's async-ish in the sense that it's not like determinate on which frame it'll be called on between like server and client, but I don't quite know what that translates to in practical sense.
That's kind of cool though. All right. Anyways, so we can do this. Other actor.
Yeah.
And then
But yeah, a
compile.
timeline component really is just an encapsulation of a curve asset and then a timer.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, and you'll see in that autocomplete in that search box, there are multiple ways to call the interfaces, which is poorly explained in the documentation.
Well, I can just call, like, at least in Blueprint, you can call an interface without checking to see if it's actually valid, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, you can just kind of.
It's so dangerous. Would that would actually like full crash though, wouldn't it? In C++.
Oh no. So an Unreal interface has special stuff on top of it. Even in C++, that kind of gets into, all the weirdness with reflection.
I know that you can do default behavior in C++ interfaces.
Yeah,
which is really
something
weird.
you could. Well, and you can also with default behavior setup, and then also with essentially limiting the class range that it applies to. You limit your interface to your actor base class. Then you can shift the danger from your interface call to your pure cast beforehand. Or you can do a completely fucky route and just extend the actor class itself.
Oh, you mean like inside the engine? No.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like you can go in and just edit the engine so it does exactly what you want. You can get around not casting anything. I don't suggest doing that, but
honestly, the studios that are afraid to do that, because I mean, if you're actually keeping up to date with main on Unreal during active development, you're developing wrong. You need to pick one of the versions that's stable enough for your needs, and then selectively port patches in as you need them to maintain your branch. That's just the smart way to do it when you're operating at scale.
Oh,
With the way that they
100%.
do things.
But I
And
mean,
once you're-
like, if you're editing the engine source code, you need to know that what you're editing isn't going to cause an issue further down the chain.
Yeah, but just slipping in a little bit of extra communication, like just a basic function that all it does is let you pass a nondescript integer that happens to be used as an enum somewhere.
Oh yeah, yeah, you can do all kinds of crazy things that are kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to be careful with that type of stuff when you're editing source files. Also, you have to build from source.
Build scared.
I've thought about it.
Hey, that's what I used to have to do that just to get a chaos build running.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Apparently I installed the wrong version of 2.7.
How?
Because
Oh,
they
did
have a
you install
2.7 chaos build and I didn't install that.
Oh, that actually, yeah, that'd be the exact thing, because yeah, 2.7 versus 2.7 chaos. Yep.
Yeah. So kind of upset about that, but whatever. I'm probably going to abandon 5.1 and probably abandon 5.0 because I don't think I need it.
Yeah, they're moving pretty fast, and they're doing a decent job of maintaining compatibility for the Unreal 5 releases.
Yeah.
I'd give it 9 months before we start seeing like some hard breaking changes.
But
Especially
even
when we
that, I
start
don't
seeing.
think that I'm at a point where I'd be running into them.
Yeah, yeah. So, what are your current thoughts now, given the fact that you can't put a component in a component here, for managing the timing of that door opening?
I'm gonna keep it the same way. Just use a
Okay.
timeline. I was thinking of like because it's generic enough, we could like push it in, but like I don't know, it just doesn't really work.
Yeah. Now, the alternative. This is an alternative that sounds dirty but scales well in practice.
Mhm.
You can set up your component to create other components on begin play. So that way, essentially, when the component constructs itself, it constructs the timeline component it needs on its parent.
But we won't need that. Right? Because at this point I can have a door actor as a base class.
Yeah, at this scale and for the length that you're targeting, yeah, just having simply a door class rather than an interactable base class lets you just kind of skip that.
Yeah, so
But
I'm
it's like,
thinking interactable
yeah,
interface as a
Yep.
project kind of level thing. And then you've got the door base class that you inherit from to make your door blueprint.
yeah. And so then, if you wanted to do a series, that would then, when you have that callback initialization, you essentially have that loose SOA pattern where you have that encapsulating class, which has your arrays of registered components, and they're just called in a list.
I can see a use case, but goddamn, does it sound dirty as fuck.
That's the thing, though. It only sounds dirty when you look at it from the perspective of encapsulation. But when you come at it from a performance perspective, and when you look at it from the idea of constructing an efficient state machine, instead of looking at the parent class, the owner of these components that are then reaching backwards to construct their requirements, instead of looking at that as like encapsulation from an object-oriented model, look at it as the idea of essentially back populating a closure.
Well, okay, so essentially the idea would be if we've got this actor component. Right, this logic would go into, would it go into begin play? Or
Yeah,
would
it'd
it
go into in your begin play, it would essentially call back to the parent.
get the
and
parent, right?
Yep.
There.
Or so get actor, I think would be.
Get parent actor.
Or sorry, get owner.
Oh, right, it's owner, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, get owner, right? And then this would return that. And then here we could do cast if we wanted to, or we could do attach actor component.
So this is actually where you start filling out the other side of that interaction interface, or have a separate, essentially bootstrapping interface of just having the callback, or having in your constructor for the component.
Oh, this would call like essentially interact, right? Like this. And then this here might have like where we add a component. Right? Or would
So the way to think of it is your component will have a payload that it needs to describe for a construction task, and you can break these down just on your common component types of having a timeline type, or essentially just what other facilitating components it'll need in order to execute its behavior. So you can kind of break that down into a schema, just get kind of
like
data
this,
oriented with it.
right?
Yeah, and so
like
your
a
options
function
are
that has some tick boxes or enums or something like that.
right. And so then your options are A, you have a variable in your component that's essentially just the base class that you need to communicate with for the parent actor. And so that's simply set on construction for the component. So it's working castlessly. Or, and you can just get away with a pure cast here.
I'm curious how to get away with the castless stuff, because I've been trying to wrap my head around ways to do that without causing C++ errors.
So for that, you will need either some degree of static validation for knowing what you'll be casting to at compile time.
Ooh, actually, there is one thing that I was actually really curious about that I haven't had a chance to test.
Yeah.
Is this still going? So say we come in here, right, and we have like what would it be like on what's a default method that actor has, or character?
So
we just need one that we can override.
there's a lot of stuff in there. Is there? You mean, are you just thinking of something other than begin play?
Yeah. I think this one no. Maybe not that one. Here we go. Notify actor begin overlap. Okay, so if we do notify actor begin overlap, and we say instead of that, we want this to trigger on a character. Will this actually work as a override? Overload?
So, are you talking about essentially
Like,
downcasting the function argument?
yeah.
That's shit. I would actually have to look at that. That is technically doable in C++.
Like you can do it in C++, but like I wonder if you can do it in Unreal.
Like
with you functions.
So it's the with U functions visible through reflection part that I don't know.
Yeah, it might not work properly.
But yeah, you should.
It's an interesting question, though, right?
But yeah, you technically should be well. Wait, no.
It's a hard maybe. It's
I
a hard.
See that.
I
could see that backfiring.
Yeah, I could see it breaking shit. But like,
on the flip side, casting in the constructor for the component isn't that bad. And if it's something where you feel like you're going to be initializing 20 of these components per actor and have 100 of these actors, so it's going to be called, like 1,000 times in one frame, and you have this like mass hitch you're trying to avoid, you can pass in essentially your precasted reference to the base class that you need in your constructor.
Yeah, there's better ways, but it was mostly just to like. I wonder if you could do it. Not whether or not you should do it. That's a different story, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to decide if I'd want Unreal to let you.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. There's a couple spots that I've ran into where I'm just like, this could be useful, but this could be horrible. Just absolutely horrible. And this could cause so many problems.
Side note, have you done pure casting in Blueprints?
I haven't done too much in Blueprints. How do you pure cast?
You make a cast node, then you right click on it and kind of down near the bottom.
Oh, so like cast to BP door.
Then yeah, convert to pure cast.
Is that faster?
It still has some safeties. It produces that success bool, so you can still branch on your own, but it's theoretically less safe and therefore faster.
Yeah. Because I know that try catch is really expensive.
Yeah. Because it'd be one thing if Unreal had some third-party verified MIT licensed provably efficient casting system. But it's just kind of Tim freewheeling here.
To be fair, he did a really good job on Unreal.
Oh yeah.
And then we just branch. Wait, so they have their own cast? Oh yeah, I guess they do.
They have their
everything.
own smart pointers.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
It's
are they
Unreal came out before the standard library was even vaguely tolerable.
Oh yeah, I guess it is kind of that old, and concessions had to be made at the time to make something worthwhile.
So yeah, a lot of this is kind of a consequence of they rolled their own thing. They don't ship with standard library enabled for a lot of, especially like a lot of math stuff. And so now it's the, oh hey, sure there are options, but good luck.
Yeah. Well, you need that. You need a certain level of lowness for the math for a game anyways.
Yeah. On the flip side, they could have just shipped LePlac.
I don't think I know what that is.
Sorry, LePac, actually. There's only one L. It's ye old stupid fast math.
Oh, I love it.
Like it does dirty things.
Wait, what was it? It was L. Lee old stupid math.
So let me pull up the official docs for you.
Yeah. Lee Pack.
So just that first line in the presentation there will tell you everything you need. Scroll down to where it says presentation. Yeah, first sentence at the top right there.
The
Everything
pack
you
is
need to
written
know.
in Fortran 90. Seems super new.
It is incredibly performant.
Solving systems of simultaneously linear. Interesting. Do you think this is more performant than... This is probably more performant than the Unreal stuff, isn't it? I can see that being the case.
It is simply due to how stripped down these math primitives are. So you'll find LePac in it's wrapped for Rust. I can guarantee some of the Python projects you've worked on has technically shipped LePac in a part of it. It is essentially
probably
the most used drop in, and just I don't want to touch linear algebra. Let's use this library.
What's that Rust one? The Rust engine. That's kind of popular. I think it starts with a B, right?
Bevy.
Bevy, that's the one. I've actually contemplated using this. I just don't think that it's completely ready yet.
Well, it's...
For 3D at least.
Parts of it are supposed to be very good. The entity component system is supposed to be relatively robust. It's one of those things where I'm not sure where it is on that line between being an engine and being a library.
It kind of seems like it kind of seems like it might be more of like a micro framework.
Yeah. Well, and okay, part of me kind of likes the idea of taking something that's a micro framework, something that's small enough that I can then just do the dumbest of shit on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's as I've been playing excessive amounts of Star Sector lately, it's had me thinking about some of my white whale projects for data oriented game design. And it'd be really nice just to have some time to play around with some good old, entity pooled mass math real time systems.
Well, like my thought was Bevy could be a really good MMO engine.
Well,
I say it could be. It's possible that I'm wrong.
it depends on the kind of MMO you're talking about, and it depends on a lot of your instance size and networking details. Because honestly, a lot of it's not even so much of the replication side of it in terms of like real-time player actions, but actually data replications for evolving permanent world state.
Yeah, well that's why like my understanding, like I looked into it a little bit. I'm still by no means anywhere close to an expert or even super understanding of what goes in, like what makes an engine particularly good for a MMO versus not. But my understanding is that a lot, if not almost all, of MMOs are using an entity component system because it just makes the most sense, right?
Well, if you want kind of a fun way to approach it, the notorious story behind the engine for the Elder Scrolls game is they bought it from a Korean MMO company.
Oh yeah.
Now, the thing that makes that interesting is when you look at the quote killer feature set for realistic NPC behavior in an Elder Scrolls game, and it's the fact that the NPC tasks and scheduling are built hierarchically, ranging from your actual visual in-world asset then to essentially a proxy scheduled entity with a reduced tick rate, and then to a deterministic behavior entity. So it's a layer of behavior components where you can easily see how you could essentially bring something from a player instance to essentially player instance adjacent, and then to server only behavior.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it kind of works as at your top level, you have your ECS style entity pool where you have these NPCs with deterministic behavior where all you need to do is take a time sample and route data in order to calculate their position. So that's entirely deterministic without any kind of variable world state. And then you have your essentially your cell border area where you have your minimal AI behavior and computations. You get your basic NPC interactions. That's why you find people who are randomly killed by wolves. And then from there, and so it's that layering of entity data that allows for that smooth transition from your client visible and your client synced to server only.
Yeah. And Unreal kind of falls apart at situations like that. I'm sure you could add it, but it'd be a bastardization of the engine.
Well, Unreal there's someone on their team who is aware of this design pattern. You can tell that.
Well, it's starting to crop up in their new entity stuff for AI, right?
Yeah, so like the mass entity framework.
That's the one.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and even when you look at like some of their partitioning for smart objects, or you look at kind of how they've generalized their state tree, you could very much have some way to break things up of having essentially an entity pool actor, just as they have for like a smart object controller actor that gets instanced into the world. But yeah, they haven't really done a good job of essentially attaching those to just some abstract part of the engine that's not connected directly to a level. And that's where things break down in Unreal, is essentially having to instantiate it in a specific world
I feel
and
like it's
not
coming
having
though.
yeah. Well, it's just a useful design pattern, honestly. Like that's and being able to Unreal is approaching it from this kind of an implicit ECS pattern where you're still working in an object-oriented way, and then through engine magic, it gets inverted into a structive array pattern.
Mm.
And there are obviously limitations around that if you aren't doing that at a language and compiler level. Language level AOS to SOA inversion will
Wait,
blow
sorry,
your fucking mind. It's
go again.
AOS to SOA inversion, array of structs to structive arrays inversion is any kind of pattern where you take individually declared data structures that are placed in a closure or runtime context, which then in your compile time gets inverted into a uniform structure of arrays pattern to operate on like an entity pool.
Hmm.
And in terms of taking just a raw AST in and transforming that into any kind of intermediary code, as long as your closure is decorated properly, it's a clean transformation. It just kind of works. I mean, you can just do this directly in LLVM. There aren't many hitches for that kind of pattern. It's just a very, very specific kind of thing to be done at the language level.
One sec here. I am going to do this. I need to get this into here. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. We've been on a tangent here.
Actor. This would be open door. Base door. Would it be base door or door base? Would be the more unreal way of doing it? I think it would be door base, right?
Yeah, door base.
And then
And I have no justification for saying that. It just feels right.
I can't remember. They've got a game mode base or base game mode or something like that, and I think that it's game mode base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we call this. I suppose we could say it's a subset of adjectival precedence. Oh, you laugh, but grammatically speaking, Unreal has established its own pattern of adjectival precedence with this. Like,
You're not wrong.
I have to do something with this English degree.
Wait, what the fuck? Oh, I think this needs to be restarted. It's been... My fucking writer's been weird.
Just sounds like the 5.2 update for Unreal, or just Rider in general?
Just writer in general. I was having some weirdness with 5.1 as well.
Oh, I had a moment of pride. One of my architects, independently on his own, started using Notepad++ so he could diff INI files and have line numbers.
Doing the right thing.
Right? This is like proud father moment.
Sometimes it's the little things.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is with this guy, he's external. This is a contract my studio rents me out, and so this guy he's external, and every time I'm on a call with him for support stuff, his coworker shows up. And so like the two of us have been kind of like unofficially teaching his coworker who's very much more on the does nothing with game technology. He's more on the making buildings side of things.
Understandable.
And so we're we're teaching him PBR shading.
Interesting.
It started when he had a small thing with a metal material, and we saw that his metal value was below 1, and then it snowballed, and he will learn now.
What was I gonna do here? This was gonna use static component. Door mesh. Can't remember. Did we need to do anything for the timeline component?
In terms of initializing it, so for the timeline component, since you won't be really using the fancy features for it, you won't be using the embedded curve unless you want to.
That's actually, could I set the curve in Blueprint and create the component in C++?
Okay, off the top of my head, I know curve assets are a little bit funky in C++, just because the workflow ends up being a little bit different.
It's quite funky, yeah.
So that might just be a question of whether or not you want to get into that in the video.
Wait a second. Oh, right. This needs to probably be refreshed anyways. Open door interface. No, interact interface. I guess there's only one way to find out, right?
Yeah.
Test
Yeah.
it. Okay, where are we here? This would be create, sorry. Door mesh, walls, create default subobject. No, it's add root into root. No, not add to root, add as root, right? Set root component or mesh. To create default object, inline component, roles, timeline component. Door door animation timeline. I don't think this needs to be attached to anything, does it?
Oh yeah, the timeline component isn't in the spatial hierarchy.
Yeah, it's just kind of nebulously there, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, you.
Yeah, because it's like eventually someday I would really like to make an MMO. I hear they're really simple and small.
Oh, sorry, say again.
I said someday I'd really like to make an MMO. I hear they're simple and small.
It,
The thing is
You
that
could
they
m-
can be. They can
yeah,
be
you
done
could
simple
make
and stuff.
one small.
Yeah.
And okay, to be honest, a game that markets itself as an MMO but it's small is kind of appealing.
I can't remember.
You
Have
know,
you
it,
ever played Dwarf Fortress?
it's been okay. I'm gonna say it's been a while, but then I think about it. It's been about 9 months. But no, I am. I like my weird map games where it's a 2D top-down view and it involves Herculean amounts of math.
What does this look like?
So as far as I know, it does not inherit from uScene component. So yeah, it isn't anywhere in the scene component hierarchy. It's kind of funny that it shows excuse me, it shows a gizmo for it.
Oh yeah. But if I come into here, do I have access to it?
Like, can you just drag off a reference?
Yeah, but we need to do the override, right?
Well, what do you mean as an override?
Well, I need to set the curve, right?
Well, yeah, and that's in C++. That's where it gets weird.
Yeah, I was gonna ask ChatGPT.
It
I was like, this might be actually a thing for ChatGPT. Uh,
oh, actually, just a second. Nope. They do have a C++ example in the documentation,
oh, please
but
send.
it's kind of broken.
Send anyways. Oh wait, you already did.
Yeah.
All right, give me a
Yep.
second here. I'm looking to build a opening actor in Unreal Engine C++ using a new timeline component. Could you please help me? You and a curve. You curve float. Interesting. Let's see if it does it. How do you know it's broken? Did you try it? Okay, let's see how they did this. All right, so create a new C++ class from the A actor. Add a uscene component as the root component. What's the advantage there? I don't understand the point.
So that simply means that you can offset the door location inside of the actor without changing the actor's location as reported in world space.
Okay. And then where was my, here it is. So did I have a, no, huh? Okay. Not a bad idea. Because my friend was giving me heck about that, not doing that. Because I didn't do that in my last tutorial. And he's like, you should have done that. And I was just like, I just really didn't care.
Well, it
Wait,
can be
wait.
useful.
Is this automatically set as the default root? Because like it didn't actually call it. Interesting. I guess because it's the first one though, right?
That I would have to test that. I don't think I've ever not said it.
Yeah. I'm usually adamantly against not setting things to be explicit. But I am curious now. What's going to happen? Is this going to work? Is this not going to work?
It's reasonably, in terms of inference, it makes sense.
Oh, I didn't say.
Oh.
Oh, look at that. It did.
Hey,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Huh. Interesting.
Did I ever send you the guide on using junctions and symlinks in order to link asset libraries into Unreal projects without file duplication?
I don't think so.
Because it is fucking cursed, but it works.
Let's call this door timeline. I actually like that name. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about this.
So those just look like setting up the presets for
In play.
just for controlling the door.
Yeah. The door curve is a curve float, which let's see what a curve float looks like.
So, like for a curve float and things like that, they do have actually typed assets that you can, set up in your file just for a curve of floats. Things like that. So that's kind of standard-ish.
Yeah, and this is a class. But it's not using the T object pointer. Jeez, Unreal. Sorry, ChatGPT, get with the frickin' picture here.
Well, this kind of underscores just the whole experience of using ChatGPT. Once you have enough experience to catch it, it's useful.
So true.
So
I've had this conversation with people where they're just like, oh, like it's so good, and it's just like it definitely can be.
So yeah, essentially if you're in a position where you're partner programming.
Oh, we crashed.
Let's see, you object-based utility. So
Mm,
oh, is rooted. Do you see
oh, what did
do you
it say?
see what that specific error is telling us?
What I didn't read it all.
It failed on an assert for stating that the object had a root.
Oh, like a root component?
Assertion failed. Oh, is that negated is rooted?
Wait, where?
Yeah, that is. That's funny.
Is rooted. Does that mean that it's missing? No. It's missing a root component, right? I'd have to double check what that is.
That's what it.
Object is root set. I feel like it's because we don't have a set root component, maybe?
I feel like this once again underscores the whole ChatGPT thing.
So this happened when I hit the open blueprint stuff. All right. All right, let's see what happens now. No, it's still doing the same thing. It does seem to be somewhat related to this curve, because it worked before the curve. So maybe I haven't fully finished implementing the curve. Maybe that's the problem.
Oh, potentially.
All right, let's see if it will open a blueprint or if it will crash. Huh. Okay. I'm gonna try something.
Okay.
They have a begin play and everything.
Like a super begin play or just a begin play?
Just a begin play.
Okay.
I wonder why this timeline component is not. Oh, maybe it was the U property. That could be it.
Well, how does this compare to the official docs example?
It's different in a lot of ways, I think. Because this isn't using any blueprints, right? Which is kind of more of like what I want to do for this tutorial, right?
Yeah, just essentially doing it entirely in C++.
Yeah. I am curious to see if this fixes the problem, and I will laugh if this fixes the problem. Wait. I think I saw the is rooted thing again.
You know, the fact that the timeline can contain events on the timeline is really fucking powerful.
All right, let's see if it crashes. It doesn't crash. There it is. So I think that you still build the curve outside of here, right? So then you would come into here and where the fuck would the curve be? Miscellaneous? Yeah.
Yep, curve.
Door,
And just to drop
open,
the
timeline.
C++
curve.
docs,
Wait, what am I doing?
I need about 6 more screens.
Curve float. No, yeah. Door, open, curve. Right, and then add key, add key, 0, 0, 0.51. Right. Door open curve. Beautiful. Why is animation duration like that?
What do you mean?
Well, because it should be pulled from the curve.
Oh, aren't curves unit length?
They have two values.
They have values for locations on the curve, but isn't the actual length of the curve still unit length? Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, for your value range, you're still bounded within your signed unit length, at least in your display and in your value. So anything else is just then a scaling of that curve.
Yeah, so like this should be my animation time. This should be my complete. Right? That's why like when I look at this and they're like animation duration, this is weird.
See, well then it looks like the float curve wraps a rich curve.
Let's see what this looks like though, because we can now drop this into the world.
Let's see, and then yeah, from the looks of it, yeah, rich curve is essentially just a fancy wrapper on an array of keys.
Okay, so I'm gonna on begin play, I'm gonna call the open door right away. It totally does nothing. Love it.
Did you expect it to do something?
A little bit. Yeah, because like it's supposed to be setting up the rotation. It's setting up the rotation on the wrong one, that's why. Wait, no, it is the right one, the yaw, right? I think yaw is Z. Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Oh, wait, but it's not doing the lerp. So this is where we would grab the documentation that I found here for the slurp.
Yep. It's done with quats because rotators are useless.
Yeah. Nobody uses rotators. What even is a rotator?
You okay? Frankly, what the fuck even is a rotator?
Didn't you suggest rotators over quants?
I like rotors,
Rotors.
not rotators.
Sorry. Okay. Okay, let's modify this maybe a little bit. Do so this is our rotator that we want to keep, right? So what is this? This be rotation 1, which is a F rotator. And this is 0, 0, 0. And then this is rotator 2. And yaw of 90. Wait, what? Now it's... Isn't this supposed to be a rotator?
Oh,
I know.
that's...
This wants a rotator, not a quant. Quat. And then our alpha will be the value. No, it wants quants. Do I just do this and this gives me the quant, right? Yeah.
Yeah, should.
Wait, now what's the value? What's the issue here?
Oh, you then need to take the slurped quat and turn it back into a rotator.
Is it the... Oh, this is giving me a... Wait. Oh, yeah, this is giving me a quant back.
Yeah.
Okay, everything's saved. Let's replay. This may or may not work. Are you looking forward to the video release tomorrow?
Oh, it'll be fun. I, it'll be interesting to see how many people get rage baited by being told to read the documentation that actually covers all of their questions in an informative and well-structured way.
I have a feeling it is going to be my most controversial video of all time, which might also lead to immense amounts of engagement. There we go. It worked.
Huh? Well, and the thing that I just can't get over is how goddamn good that documentation is.
It's unfair.
Like, that's... If you had pointed me to that the first time I was learning Unreal,
Yeah.
and to be honest, it also does a better job of explaining Unity than the Unity docs.
I find that unsurprising.
Well, okay. I am immensely biased when it comes to documentation structure because I'm convinced that everyone does it wrong and I'm the only person who can handle it correctly.
That's pretty standard, dude.
Yeah, everything from improper search engine optimization to the assumption that okay, well-written documentation shouldn't have a singular hierarchy for organization. A documentation forms a graph, and that should be an invertible graph, and it should be a partially invertible graph because it's going to be navigated in multiple directions. Every single, what we see as directed link is a bidirectional link with different typed properties.
Okay.
So any adequate documentation system should allow you to invert that depending on your search pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does it that way. And so like patterns that we find across documentation is we have these mixtures of reference docs and guide documentation that are poorly separated. We don't have search namespacing in documentation. Just as a general rule, have you ever seen a documentation that allowed you to namespace your query?
No.
Can you imagine how goddamn useful that would be, given the random mess of shit? You know, I don't care if it's auto-generated with Sphinx. I don't care if it's some system where you're building on inline code comments, or if you're using read the docs or anything else like that. They don't let you do a semantically structured query.
Yeah.
Your IDE gets you halfway there if you have a well-commented code base, but that only covers things that can be exposed directly in your IDE, and your IDE typically displays that poorly as well. But the concept still exists. We have the idea of having this almost API-like interface atop our documentation, but we don't actually use that for our long-form structured docs.
Sweet, my girlfriend's on her way home. Hmm.
That is partially why I am somewhat appreciative of the fact that work is making me research direct this.
I suppose. I need a way of good way of setting these.
So this is being done in local space, right? No, it's not.
It could be.
It should be. Yes,
think
it
it's
should be done.
Relative space? No. Would it be local space?
Yeah, so what you want to think of is so your door's default rotation is at 0 within the local space of the actor.
Yeah, so then this would be set. Wow, not world location. Set local.
Or relative, yeah.
Yeah, relative location. Yeah, this is the one that I was going to do. Does this take something else? No, that's location. Set rotation. Not bad. Do. We've got the slurp, the update door rotation, right? Which gets used here. I'm surprised. Why is this an F
Do you have
name?
Do you have a way to close the door?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Timeline combined. I think it's dynamic that I prefer. Oh no, it's just. Oh wow, I don't like that. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Why not? Because it's doing it by name when you should just be able to pass the function in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you try and there's, it doesn't look like there's a way to do this without that.
Now, to be fair, your F name is hashed in a very, very efficient way.
Oh, that's not what I'm worried about.
But
Like,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
worried about it. It's just like
it's just kind of
weird.
yeah.
Yeah, because like everything else allows you to bind by either or.
Yeah, well, it's just one of those, you're petting the cat backwards sort of things. Am I wrong?
No, not even a little bit. I gotta say, 10 out of 10.
But
And then this would be. Wait, would this be different? What?
I wonder if they want to like avoid passing a closure.
I don't know. There might be a technical reason for it.
Yeah, but that makes me then want to pass it a closure.
Yeah. Wait. Play from start. Oh, okay, yeah. And this one's what? Reverse from end. Okay, that makes sense too. Cool. The door is open. Do, 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 do. And then this would be the interact. Oops. I keep doing that, and I keep being silly. To do virtual void, or no? Does it? Does it need virtual? This would be.
Yeah, you probably do need the virtual.
It's saying that I don't necessarily need it, which is odd, but Unreal and Engine C++. I haven't done one of these in Unreal C++. No, you don't need it. Interesting.
Well, in the official docs, there are examples where they have them noted as virtual and others where they don't.
Because of course they do. Because consistency, what is it even?
So I think the difference comes on whether you're overriding a blueprint event, and that also seemed to line up with the page that you were looking at. So in the top of the C++, wait, no, that might be specific to C++ only interface functions. See,
No,
'cause,
this
yeah,
has
they
the
do have.
native.
Okay.
Yeah. This
so
one's different though.
For blueprint callable interface functions, they must not be virtual.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's.
You're just sitting there like reading documentation there.
I mean, we have documentation for a reason.
I don't know, man. Wait, what's the wait? Interface functions that are not blueprint implementable must be declared as virtual. That makes sense. Although, actually, I guess this should be blueprint implementable or whatever it was. To do this one. Damn it, I keep doing that. There we go. And then we come over here and we do no. Okay, it's just public. Public do interact interface. It's the I, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And this would be void interact. And this is there we go. If I'm gonna change that to door closed.
Oh, true by default.
Huh?
Right, if it does the door start open or does it start closed?
It starts closed.
So it should be initialized to true instead of false.
Oh right. I got it right the first time. Good catch.
I've done that to myself more than once.
What's the issue here? This one I'm always curious about. Can these actually be made const? Like, could this actually be made const and not interfere with the bind?
So it's not a strict constness.
Because I think I've had problems with that in the past, and I can't remember if I have or haven't.
So yeah, Unreal is weird on that front. Calling those positions.
You're right.
It's in my ideal world, we would follow the noun verb rule for describing the orientations versus rotations in space.
I guess.
But no one does. So,
Wait, what do you mean?
okay, so the orientation of an object, orientation is a noun. So you can describe an orientation with Euler axes because it is static. It's a noun, it points in a location. It points to an orientation. That's just where it is. You can just describe an axis order and you're there. You don't need to worry about axis flipping for an orientation because an orientation doesn't move. A rotation is a verb. It is an act of movement, which means that you actually describe a path or an arc in space. And in following that convention, you can essentially identify where orientation compatibility needs to be maintained and where you actually need to use slightly different functions for handling orientation and rotation. But no one actually follows that convention, so it's just a thing that we sometimes dream of.
I think it's a thing that you sometimes do.
Okay, so this is my issue with animating. When you keyframe things, you keyframe orientation to perform rotation, and that bothers me.
Wait, go back.
So in a key, on a timeline, the values, the keys that you set are for orientations. They're at a, essentially the way something faces at a point in time.
Yeah.
And we use that sequence of orientations to compose a rotation. The rotation essentially being the line you define between two keyframes.
Okay.
But that rotation, that verb, is critically different from those individual keys that are nouns, because there are multiple paths that you can take at any one point in time to reach an orientation.
Yes.
And so it's, if we could key in rotations of essentially saying a traversal along a path, where we define, not just the end points, but essentially the trajectory of, essentially a rotational heading vector. That would disambiguate, and it would prevent us from actually needing to rely on squad interpolation, which requires 4 entire fucking quaternions just in order to create a orientation compatible interpolation from 2 rotations. Or worse yet, a double quaternion. So you're literally doubling your actual storage space just in order to maintain orientation across keys.
One of my buddies messaged me. He's like, VC, and I was like, I'm doing a stream right now, and he's like, I see how it is. It's because I'm white.
Well, is it because he's white?
He's not really white. he's I think he's a mix of a couple different things.
So
I think he's got a little bit of white in him, but not much.
So what he's really asking is if it's because he's too white.
Ah, it might be.
Yeah.
Tasty motherfucker.
Yeah, How does he make a taco?
I have no idea.
Is there lettuce involved?
I don't know.
If there's any lettuce involved, he's too white.
That's he's not that's not the right color. he's he's got quite a bit of native in him.
Well, it doesn't matter, what else for his background. If there's lettuce in his taco, that's too white. It's
Hey,
the
what is
presence of
wrong with the
whiteness.
lettuce in the taco?
Do you put iceberg lettuce in your tacos?
Well, I'm white.
But are you that white?
I
Are
don't
you
fucking know.
Minnesota taco white?
I don't know. I put lettuce in my taco. Why not? Comes in taco.
Okay, so the answer is not that he is too white. The answer is that you are too white.
But like if you go to Taco Bell, they put what? I know it's a bad example, but
Okay. Taco Bell doesn't try to be authentic. It tries to be Tex-Mex.
okay.
So like,
I guess. Okay, so I should say I guess it depends on what I'm making. Right? Like if I'm going for a traditional taco, I really like these tacos. These are amazing.
Yeah, but there is no iceberg lettuce in that picture.
I'm aware. But if I'm going for like this type of taco, then yeah, I'll put lettuce.
Jail.
In it. But I also don't really eat these tacos, so.
Well, any other leafy green. I mean, hell, put mustard greens on your taco. I won't judge you for that. Swiss chard, put it on your taco, sure. Spinach, I will even accept spinach on your taco.
This is wrong. This person did it wrong. This is not how you build these types of tacos. Building these types of tacos, you build them with just like meat and shit.
Yeah, you.
So this is the type of taco I would normally eat.
Okay. All right.
right? Like this kind of taco. And
But
then
you see, now I can't
if
help but suspect you.
What do you
I can
mean?
only, I can just, I see this taco, I see you're telling me this is what you eat, and all I can picture is you making that exact taco and putting just a little bit of iceberg lettuce on top.
No, I don't make tacos at home. Fuck that. I go out and I buy tacos. But I buy tacos from like places that are more
How do you
authentic.
not make tacos?
What do you mean? I live in Canada. We have a very different culture.
But okay, look, a tortilla is a utensil, right?
Sure.
It's an edible fork.
Yeah. Okay.
So you'd have to go out of your way to not own tortillas, which is
No, you have to
physically
go out of your
impossible.
way to own tortillas. You
How
have to
can
go
you
and
just not?
actually buy tortillas or make tortillas at home, which is something that I really don't do.
I suppose that is a life choice.
It is a lot. To be fair, like for dinner, I usually eat a steak.
With like vegetables,
No,
too,
like a
right?
steak.
With sides, with like
No,
green beans
no,
or
no, no, no,
a side salad
no, a
or
steak.
your poor colon.
So what I do, um, is I buy like one of these,
Okay, yeah,
and then I cut it up, and
yeah,
I just make these steaks.
okay.
Yeah, that's what we usually eat for dinner.
But not pair, but you pair it with something, right?
No, no, that's you, it's just steak. And then
Do you
for
not like vegetables?
I've got nothing against vegetables. And then for breakfast, I'll usually make eggs with bacon. I have a
But you have the
very
steak,
sorry.
eggs and steak
No, that's I have
in a
steak for dinner.
tortilla with some potatoes.
Actually, I've been thinking that I might actually do that because like we get the end bits, right? And
Yeah,
they don't depending on like the cut, you don't get a really good end bit. Like you don't get a good steak out of the end bits. So I was thinking of like chopping them up into like cubes and frying them up and putting them in tortillas.
yeah, yeah, with some vegetables.
What are vegetables? You mean like iceberg lettuce?
Dear Lord.
I'm sorry.
Maybe a serrano pepper
Oh man. What's a serrano pepper?
or some mushrooms.
Oh.
It's a nice
No,
mild
this
flavor.
I don't think my girlfriend would eat that.
It just means more food for you.
I cook for both of us.
I see no contradiction here.
We should do maybe habaneros.
Yeah. But yeah, you get some peppers in there. I am a fan. I like fresh radish, or even like I'll do pickled radish sometimes when I'm feeling creative.
Oh,
So like some peppers, some radish, some dark leafy greens, mushroom. I am a huge mushroom fan.
like because like you
Um,
look at these and they don't really have much in them. And I
I
can't
mean
eat
that
cilantro. Ugh.
there was still like a significant amount of avocado in that one, but you need enough roughage in there to at least quiet your digestion for a while.
What do you mean?
Just a little bit of roughage smooths everything out.
I don't know what you're referring to. You mean you don't just eat steak?
Oh,
Salt, and then you pan fry your steak.
I am too cheap to just eat steak.
That's why I'm eating steak.
How cheap of a steak are you getting?
Well, let's see. So I think it was $18. We get about 6 steaks out of it. So it's about $3 a steak.
Yeah, I pay like less than $2 a pound for bone-in chicken.
So a lunch for me will be 2 steaks.
Or like I will actually like just buy the like
Oddly,
upper spinal column of a pig.
well, I'd buy bigger, but we don't have the space for it. Oddly enough, this is my weight loss diet. It works really well.
Yeah, I mean, if you're cutting out those easy calories, yeah. And, in terms of satiation, meat carries you quite a while.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Come on,
it's...
at least some beans.
I can't eat beans.
At least some beans.
Can't eat beans.
You can't eat beans?
Nope.
You're just
No, I mean
beanless?
I wait, what type of beans?
I mean, I'm a fan of red bean, personally.
Oh, okay.
What, do you have some specific bean allergy?
I was thinking like green beans.
Okay, green beans, if you do them right, like if you're getting them from the farmer's market and you're doing like a garlic green bean, that's good. But I wouldn't wish like canned green beans on anyone.
Well, why would anybody? That'd be more expensive.
Yeah.
Canada has very different pricing. By the way, that's $3 Canadian, not American.
Yeah, I figure.
Yeah. So it'd be cheaper in the States. It would actually probably be like that $2.
I was gonna say that's not a...
It's a very cheap steak.
Yeah.
And
that's
it's actually really good. Like it's very tender.
I like that for those prices. That'd be something like I'd be expecting for like a pork steak, not beef.
Yeah. No, I was super happy. I found it at Walmart, funny enough.
I was about to say I need to get to know your butcher.
My butcher lives up north. And I don't see
Okay.
him very often.
I mean, I had to deal all evening. My parents have been sending me pictures of the moose burger that they have been given by the person that they are currently living in the yard of.
Oh. Moose is not
Like...
bad. You have to be careful where you shoot it, though.
That just kind of applies in general.
No, I mean like specifically because you can get a swamp donkey.
Okay, I'm used to back east moose. West Coast moose, they're just tiny. Like just
No,
out here.
like I mean like the area that it is living in is important.
Yeah. I'm saying that, out west, these moose are just kind of disappointingly small. I'm used to the large Great Lakes region moose.
Are they that much bigger?
Oh, we're significantly.
They get pretty big up here.
Yeah, we're talking like the difference. Like we're not quite talking like full Alaska bull moose, 8.5 foot tall, but we're talking close.
One second, I'm gonna send you something. Have you ever seen a yak?
Not in person.
Okay, I sent you a photo.
Oh, fun. I'd eat that.
I took that photo from my phone with no zoom.
Oh, looks very tasty.
Yaks are very dangerous.
Puts you through a plot arc.
Sorry?
It just puts you through a plot arc, you know?
I suppose.
Bond with your boar spear.
Bond with the hole in your stomach.
Yeah. It keeps Christmas from getting too crowded.
Ah, here we go.
Ooh. Nice.
Looks tasty, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, how long did you age these? Did you do like just like the dry age kind of like cupboard
Oh,
setup?
I have no idea. That wasn't. I didn't age those. I didn't cut them either. They come in
Are you
quartered.
yeah. So are you telling me you haven't mastered the golf ball trick?
I don't cut meat like that. That's my dad's shop.
Oh, nice.
He's my butcher when I can get up to see him.
So you need to do me a favor.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make sure he gives you soup bones.
Oh yeah, that's easy to get.
Like
Here.
you explicitly need to make sure he gives you some nice, well-cut femur. You know, the ones where when you cook them right, you just eat the marrow out with a spoon.
Oh, I don't actually like bone marrow.
It is fantastic on a homemade sourdough.
Oh, I can imagine. It's quite buttery, but I don't
Oh,
know. I don't really care for it. Hopefully this doesn't fail to upload to you. I think it won't. This is a video of something that I woke up to. Woke up when I woke up while last time we were up at my dad's place. I woke up and walked down. By the way, I'm allergic to these green beans. That's why I don't eat them.
that's an allergy? Huh.
I actually have a number of allergies.
Yeah. I think between like you and Abel, you cover the entire gamut.
Yeah. Well, it's allergies to like I have a lot of allergies to fruits and vegetables.
Oh yeah, so it's like those generalized like the skin contact ones, like with the inflammation as well.
No. No. I can eat around all of my allergies.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky in the sense that I can eat around all my allergies. Very unlucky that I have a lot of allergies.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
Yeah. None of them are contact allergies, which is nice. So like I'm allergic to
Okay, yeah.
carrots, but I could eat soups that have carrots in them. And I can
So
eat
so it's
dishes
fine
that
if it's
have carrots.
cooked.
I just don't eat the carrot.
Okay.
And then I'm fine.
Hmm.
Yeah. Same with nuts.
You'd be
and...
annoying to cook for.
Why? I just eat around it.
Well, that's not the.
I
Still,
I eat around
you
the
should-
things
you
that
should-
I'm not allowed, I can't eat. Yeah.
But you should enjoy the. Allergic to too much.
Yeah, the list is very long. It's a whole lot of no fun. All right, but I gotta call it a night. My girlfriend is home, and I am being harassed on Discord. So.
Yeah, I should head out too. It's like past 11 here.
All right. Well, it was good chatting with you. Thanks for the help.
Yeah, likewise.
All right.
So it'll be interesting to see how this tutorial shapes up.
Well, I think we've got it. I've got it figured out. it's just a matter of testing it and then figuring out wording. But I think I got it slimmed down. It's only like 50 lines of code.
Yeah, that should be easy enough to cover.
Yeah, in
And
like
then
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe 5
Well,
at
and-
most.
Well, and like your quote main video tomorrow is going out, so you'll have kind of some more feedback to refine, brand voice and things like that. So you can incorporate that kind of directly into your script planning.
I also need to get 2 weeks ahead if I do Wednesday releases.
Yeah, just kind of
Oh no, because
build in that.
because I fly to Finland on the 16th to the 30th of next month. Obviously.
I mean, is your YouTube audience developed enough that
No,
they'll care?
absolutely not. I have like
Okay.
I have like 200 and something subscribers.
Well, hey, that's not zero.
Oh no, it's not. I have 221 subscribers.
Hey, that. So
It
yeah,
is a
so
number
you should
greater
be,
than 0.
yeah. So that's enough. You should be able to at least get that little bit of feedback on these initial posts, build some momentum, and then hopefully get a buffer up.
Hopefully. If not, I'm not going to be too worried about it. Because
Yeah, I mean,
nobody's expecting
could-
me to do it, so whatever.
you could always do a video in the middle of the trip in Finnish with 0 explanation.
I don't speak Finnish.
You don't need to. No one speaks Finnish.
That's not true. I have cousins that speak Finnish.
Finland is a statistical rounding error. It's like Wyoming. It doesn't exist.
Hey, there's Proton. He speaks Finnish.
Well, it's kind of like how the people in Colorado and Utah actually kind of like day trip over to pretend.
You know the person I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. He does the retro
music.
hardware stuff and the music.
Yeah. He's very easy to program too.
Yeah.
I had him on in the background while I was working one day.
Yeah, and then I mean, hell, even Noita is explicitly a Finnish game.
Noita?
I know.
Anyways,
Okay, so yeah,
we will chat more tomorrow.
yeah. I'll bully you into playing Noita after you play Star Sector.
We still have to figure out how that's going to work because I can't get it to install.
You have you downloaded it yet?
No, the Steam key didn't work.
It isn't on Steam.
Oh, it is on Steam.
You just. I didn't give you a Steam key. Just go download it from their website.
Oh, okay. We'll do that tomorrow or something.
Yeah. Well, and that key is just one that's been floating around forever. It's like 4 or 5 years old at this point.
Oh, okay.
And they've just never disabled the key because that key was actually their main form of advertising these past couple of years.
That's fair. All right. I'll catch you later.
All right. Yeah. Cheers.
Bye, everybody. Night, Zach.
Yeah. Goodbye, chat.
All right.